Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, that's G-Funk, Janie. Listen, we're here again, part 4. Can you believe it? We're only an hour through this 2.5 hour, what would you call it? A treatise. An audio treatise of Janie McKenzie clips in regards to the Jack and Lily case, of course. Friends, what is going on up in that Facebook group, Jack and Lily Uncensored? And this Logan, she has this Logan McKenzie, this cousin of Daniel's, is up there catfishing everybody under this account, Jack and Lily, and she's taking offense, calling Mike Demand's videos garbage, and statement analysis is just useless in that sense. Really? I was over there listening to him this morning. My God, what a circus that group is. But on your screen is a snapshot from the particular group. See, Daniel's in it and Belinda's in it. I thought it was interesting that Belinda Gray pointed out an inconsistency in Daniel's statement, and he took offense to it in regards to, at this point in time, this is only from like 12, I don't know how many hours ago, not very many hours ago. Belinda pointed out how Daniel told her that Malaya and him were having disagreements were fighting over spanking the children. Well, what an interesting thing for Belinda to point out. I believe her. Why? She's credible. And especially when it comes to recounting something that Daniel Martell told her as important as this when she's pointing out the inconsistency to begin with. It doesn't really matter what Daniel's underneath there saying. He's trying to correct her and update her as though, again, Daniel, you're not very bright. You're just a liar. And you lie and deny, even about lying and denying. Good to see you, sweet tea. Hello, Layla and Tammy. Welcome in this morning. Christine, good to see you. Bonnie. Susan B., you're calling them a family of fools, perhaps. Let me read this to you. Here's what the statement says. Oh, wrong one. There we go. No, you don't need glasses. It's just I got this from Mike Damon's live stream. I screenshotted it. So it's a little bit blurry. Belinda Gray told Daniel Martell, "You told me she looked at you with disgust, not fear, and you said you fought over giving spankings because she was too slack and they wouldn't listen to her." Yeah, you've actively repeated that. "I don't care what's on the doc papers," Belinda says. High five. High five to Belinda there. So Daniel comes in and replies on this. "Belinda Gray, that's now a look of being ashamed, Belinda. What is that supposed to mean?" Oh, see, he didn't like that. He had to repeat her name even after tagging her. Daniel says, "I don't spank kids or hit them. It doesn't solve anything." Well, he's come to realize that, doesn't he? It's come to create him a lot of problems. Well, why would you be telling Belinda that you were arguing over spanking the kids? Probably because from Daniel and Janie's perspective, it's a complete polar opposite of how they would be raising their kids. Oh yeah, Daniel spanks kids. He hits kids. You can tell. Look at his old man. Why don't you put down that camera and be a man? Old Earl. Everybody's combative and hostile, especially around these sensitivities that they show. So he says, "I don't spank kids or hit them, Belinda. It doesn't solve anything. I don't do it with any of my kids either." This Jade Robson says, "Daniel Martell, too many inconsistencies from you and your mother. It's not adding up at all. High five to you. No shit." Belinda Gray is a powerful voice in all of this. And she's doing a good job holding it together, because it must be infuriating to know that this son of a bitch is sitting there gaslighting the entire world around something that you really can't. But he's trying. There's really no excuse, Daniel, for a person in your position. That's now a look of being ashamed, Belinda. So what are you saying? That's now a look, now that you're admitting to changing your feeling about what that initial look on her face was? Well, you should know. You should know. You spent so much time around her. The fact that you don't even want to talk about it. Well, the fact that you replied to all of this shows you're sensitive. You're just trying to normalize your inconsistencies on the daily. That's also known as managing your bullshit. Good to see you, Quillfish. I thought that was an interesting exchange. I'm sorry Belinda had to go through that. One moment. Well, he wants just to steer clear of any association at all. They distance themselves from Jack and Lily at every turn. And then tell you that they spend all their time together. Oh boy, joy. What a fun time that would have been. Oh, absolutely. They've they want to. The best thing that they can get out of this is a confusion. So much so that they don't mind contradicting themselves now and then and just telling you it's your fault. If you don't believe them, then it's something that is wrong in your mind in that circumstance. Priorities, right? Constantly prioritizing their own innocence in this circumstance at this point in time. Thanks for the effort, guys. And I can't believe that Daniel in the beginning didn't want to linguistically commit to stranger abduction. It can only be a couple of things. It can only be a couple of things that happen to these kids. And the fact that he wants the RCMP to believe that there was a 20-minute window where they were dozing in and out of sleep and they last say that they heard the kids. We know that's not true, but that's the story that they gave them. And then he wants to not linguistically commit to there being a stranger abduction, but Malaya brings it up as being a possibility in the nicest way possible. Like, listen, if you can't find your kids within 10 minutes, then in your own mind as a caring parent, it's got to be an alternative, and you wouldn't have a problem even bringing it up in front of a camera. The fact that you want all of these cops to go and monitor the New Brunswick border, which is another way of saying just, anywhere but here in the moment. And he's been doing that all along. Like, what makes you volunteer all of this particular information? Two people who a second ago you thought were running after their kids. They're trying to find their children. They're eager to get them back. And then they slowly volunteer all of this suggestive language that allows you to, it's meant to have you fill in the blanks for them, and they'll just agree. It's part of building a narrative, right? We've seen that many times. Lolani Simon. Osprey, you're saying Malaya changed her story. Malaya changed her story to whoever was listening. I believe she's very manipulative. She may be quiet, but still waters run deep. Osprey, well, there's a reason why she's not saying anything. Let's not forget, when you go back and watch all of these old Daniel clips, that they are acting as though they are loving, caring parents in that circumstance. And the reality is quite the opposite. Right? The kids were strangers there. We get that through Janie's language. We get that through Daniel's as well. You're making it out to look like, for the people asking you the questions in front of the camera, as though these were your kids. These aren't even your kids. These aren't even your kids. Or grandkids. You weren't married to Malaya. You just moved her in and got fucked up on dope. So why the need to make it look a certain way or anything but what life really is like around there? We know what It's also amazing to me that you treat Jack and Lily's blood relatives the way that you did, whether it was Cindy and telling her to fuck off while you were there in the moment. Like, who the hell are you to tell Malaya's mom to fuck off? You moron. And the way that you talk to Belinda Gray across all platforms. Like, what a fucking douchebag. What an absolute idiot. Like, your word matters in any of this, you fucking loser. The biggest mistake you made, Daniel, is trying to be center stage in all of this. For what? The fact that people put you on the spot in this circumstance forced you to make these outlandish claims about how much you love these fucking kids in a way that you just couldn't duplicate the emotion for, which would be important in trying to sell. Janie says one thing and can't hold back her true feelings about things because she's just that loopy. She's a few fries short of a Happy Meal. Oh, shit. It's going to... No. I better not say that. I got to hold back some of the things that I want to say. Don't want to be contradictory like Janie. I wonder how he would last with a man, says Bonnie, when he tries to blacken his eye. Oh, you mean the Tonka truck accident? You mean the Tonka truck? There's always an excuse, isn't there? Do you remember Dakota Collins' father? Do you remember how horrible that case was? And that idiot father of his, Muahan, who called 911 and listening to that 911 broadcast, and the fact that he was gagging and puking because Dakota had what he felt was feces in his mouth, and he wouldn't try to resuscitate him. And after a while, the things that came out about how he was torturing those children, or Dakota, excuse me. You know, there's a lot of parallels. You can see the same sort of patterns with this Muatan, Dakota's father, if you guys are familiar with it, in how he's just normalized, and he can't help but normalize all of the reasons why you shouldn't like these children in that sense. In Dakota's case, it was this kid likes to play with his own poop and pee. Meanwhile, it was a product of abuse, and it was because he was being tortured, isolated, abused, beaten. Daniel, the fact that you told Belinda, why would we have a reason to doubt Belinda, that you and Malaya fought over giving spankings because she was too slack? This is something that you've said over and over again, and then turned around and taken all of her mother valor in that sense, all of the light, all of the smoke, saying how you looked after everybody because Malaya wouldn't, as though there was clear and decisive roles in this shit, you know, in your particular relationship. Well, part of me wonders if you really believe that, and that was part of the psychological trauma that she was being put through while she was in that shithole. Now, she's complicit in all of this, no doubt. But you notice who's not around anymore. You notice who couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. Pretty sure it wasn't her own idea to murder her own children. Why don't you want to talk about the conflicts that you and Malaya had leading up to your breakup? But you'll see Daniel say in chat, so I don't want to make this into a hate fest over over Malaya. Well, he already has. He's already broken that. He's already burnt that bridge. You've already got on the CBC and blamed Malaya for everything in this circumstance. Why all of a sudden change now? Because people are a lot closer. He doesn't want to focus on all the questions that make him look suspicious. Demonstrates all kinds of avoidance, and the priority would be his own freedom over what you and I would otherwise recognize or want to recognize as the truth to the situation. So I thought that was fairly interesting. That snippet. So Belinda called Daniel out for fucking lying in this Facebook group in front of everybody. Good. You put so much work into it, Belinda. You ruined it on him. Whoops, what happened there? There we go. Wrong button. Well, Cindy Clark, the whole reason to be in front of people like this is to propagandize them towards whatever narrative or help build a narrative for you in that sense. It's just what happens with social media. Where did we leave off with Janie? Right around the 103 mark.
When I first met her, when Daniel introduced me to her and the kids, it was okay. My personal opinion of her, I'm not gonna say. But let me just say.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's that good, is it? Well, my personal opinion of her, I'm not going to say. That's private. This is the type of shit that you get with Janie. She just can't help herself. Yeah, that would be leakage, wouldn't it? I guess that would be leakage, but it was kind of funny nonetheless. Like, did you do that on purpose, Janie? And by the way, this isn't like you're just starting a new conversation. You've just been talking smack about her for the last, I guess 40 minutes. You've been disparaging her all up until this point. And now you don't want to share what your true opinion is of Malaya. You see the issues here? Like, there's nothing you can do to change that. You've already outed yourself. So simply trying to correct yourself by saying something positive about her after the fact is kind of like saying but after your statements.
When Meadow was born, when I would go in there to see Meadow and I would hold Meadow, she would always come and take Meadow from me and say, oh, she has to be fed or she has to be changed. She would go in the bedroom and she wouldn't come out until I would leave. When the grandfather came to see Meadow, she would do the same thing.
When the grandfather would come to see Meadow, are you talking about Earl? Did Earl come and try to fight Meadow? Sharon Woodfine says, Belinda, you go, girl. You tell it as it is. Don't allow them to manipulate or intimidate you. You are the only voices they have in either family for those babies. Oh, Belinda's doing a fine job. It's a real thorn in Daniel's side. Cindy Clark, you think Janie and Daniel are busy snorting the evidence? You think? It wouldn't surprise me that Daniel got hooked on shit because of rummaging through Janie's medicine cabinet. You know how many times I babysat baby Meadow? Twice.
When it came to Meadow, Meadow was hers. I could go in there and I could play with Jack and Lily all I wanted. But with Meadow, no. Meadow was hers. Since that child has been born, do you want to know how many times I babysat that child? Twice. I looked after her twice. Once when she was outside helping Daniel with the wood because she wanted to get outside. I watched Meadow. The second time I watched Meadow was when Malaya had an episode. I think she was having an anxiety attack. The ambulance was called, and they took her to the hospital.
I wonder. That's damn near an emotional breakdown, a mental breakdown. I wonder what happened in that circumstance. They probably were fighting over things like spanking the kids, your drug use, your mom, anxiety attack. You know, the types of anxiety attack you have to call the ambulance for. The ambulance. Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll get you right in the... we'll clear out a space and we'll throw you in the MRI. Here's your problem. You're an idiot. Let's see. Yeah, Tammy Burke. Well, that's a big problem when you've got this positioning, this staging, like what Derwood and Janie said earlier on about how everybody's going to be owing her an apology. Yeah. That's a lot of chutzpah there, boy. That's ridiculous. That's a tell in that circumstance. She's resorting to that as her part of her defense, right? Oh, you guys are just so wrong about everything. You're going to see. You're going to owe me an apology. I think we're having a cross-up. No. Nobody here is going to ever owe these people an apology. Oh, well, we'll take your word for it this time. Don't forget, how long... There's a trivia question for today for those of you in the true crime genre. How long was it between the time of disappearance and the time the police went and arrested them in their RV? And whom I'm speaking of are Trezell and Jacqueline West. It was quite a while. It was quite a while, wasn't it? It was, but it wasn't too long after the arrest. Like the trial and everything went fairly quick. And Classic and Sincere were two children that just magically disappeared. Trezell and Daniel are a lot alike in that sense. And their way they like to raise kids. They're authoritarian. That's what I get. The problem in all of this is the use of mathematics in how it makes Daniel and the escalating resentment, him and everybody around there like his mother felt towards the children and Malaya. Like they didn't think much of Malaya, and you can see that equates to the kids as well. That is giving them justification and reasons why you shouldn't like Jack and Lily or like the children, because of how they were being raised, as though they were already, they're blaming Malaya for treating them less than, when it's really Daniel and Janie in that sense, portraying it that way.
I watched Meadow until Daniel got home. That day that I watched Meadow, I got Jack and Lily off the school.
First of all, there's no real reason to say that in the first place, Layla. Nobody's bullying Janie in that sense. She's being judged on her honesty. These are the things that she's saying in light of two children who are missing. You're prioritizing all of their nonsense. You're talking about their needs rather than Jack and Lily in the circumstance. It's ridiculous. Okay? She feels that way because she has guilty knowledge. That's what she's telling you. Giving you a little bit of honesty. It's like idiot Daniel going in and telling everybody how wonderful it is to, quote unquote, pass this polygraph. And how nervous and all over the place he was before he went into it. The guy's hooked on dissociatives. He's hooked on the divorce drug. On the Tina. And they still put him, not through a drug test, but on the polygraph to see if he's telling the truth. It's ridiculous. Let me see.
School bus. And I'll never forget the...
Ain't nobody bullying Janie. She doesn't go around anywhere. And you can police yourself. She probably shouldn't be online interacting with people in the first place. Nobody's going to be bullying Janie in that sense. She's an attack first, ask questions later type of person.
Expression on the bus driver's face when I took Meadow and said, here, watch her while I get Jack out of the seatbelt. He looked at me because I just said, you have to take Meadow so I can get Jack out of the seatbelt. And I got Jack out of the seatbelt, and I got Lily, and I took the baby from the bus driver, which is Brian Ward. He's a great guy. You probably seen videos about him on TikTok or on YouTube. And I took the kids in the house.
Mike's saying that the woman and the child on the four-wheeler that Janie talks about here is this bus driver's wife.
And Daniel
Jack and Lily's bus driver
arrived maybe 10 minutes after I got the kids off the bus. And he cooked them supper. Not me. He cooked them supper. And I did up her housework for her while he was feeding Meadow and Jack and Lily.
See that? And I did up her housework. So she's subtly defining the roles within the house. Well, what's wrong with Daniel cleaning up after himself? It was so bad that you had to go in and do it for her in that sense? I don't know. I don't know about all of this. I don't know about this story there, Janie. So at one point you don't spend a lot of time around there. Why would you be in there doing their housework and watching Daniel cook for them? How would you have known that? Why would it have been significant Because it was the one time? It's so fucking ridiculous.
Lily. So yes, Daniel did look after those children. I have not tried contacting the chief. The reason why I would have not contacted the chief is she probably won't tell me anything like she did Belinda, because the children are not mine, and I did not say the kids were on the reservation, so why would I contact the chief? Now, there's people said that they are on the reservation, and as I told you, I do not know where Lily and Jack are. So why would I go and call the chief to ask him if they're there when I do not know if they are there or not? If you don't mind, I would like to just stay like this because I can have a chance to answer your questions, because if all these guys keep throwing questions at me, I'm going to read them, and then I'm just going to get all confused because I'm going to get one question in with another question, and that's just going to screw everything up.
Especially when you're trying to remember your bullshit lie, your script, right? No, you don't really have to get the truth and the reality to a situation confused in your own mind unless you're reading from a script. No, you guys are going to confuse me. Oh, she's a subtle master at spinning and putting blame back on everybody else that is there to participate or listen in. Oh, it's all you guys. How would them asking questions all of a sudden just confuse your mind to not remembering what it is that you have to say in the first place? It's probably if you have to remember it, it's probably not true. Especially in this circumstance with Jack and Lily. Why would you be having to remember in that sense their honey baby? Their sugar face. She is not very good. But she's a fast talker. She makes up for it. She's playing small ball. Oh. It's exhausting though. She does. Wasn't she already supposed to end this conversation like in part 3? Yeah. She already ended all of this and she's gone on and gone on. Here's this message. I got this from Mike's screenshot again. Mike Damon. I love her more than anything. ! That will never change. Talking about Malaya. I'm waiting for that chance to relive, spelt R wrong. It's O-U-R, you dumbass. To relive? Relieve? To relieve? He's fucked that up already. It's supposed to say, I'm waiting for that chance to relive our first date over waterfalls and a walk on a big island beach with the Daniel you first met. That is so cringeworthy, bro. Ew, gross. That's so fucking stupid. Why would you even say something like that? Oh, that's my go-to. Is that your go-to line? Malaya, are you sure you don't want to come back? I promise we'll go back to that beach and I'll pretend I'm the Daniel I was when we first met. You want to regress in the relationship? You want to go back and pretend to be the person you were when you first met me? What does that say about you? Like, what the fuck is going on with this situation where now you've acknowledged the fact that you have changed and you're going to go back and change back to the person that you think I want you to be? You've already screwed this all up for yourself, by the way. It's just, I think it shows more about his controlling nature. He might not, he wouldn't even think of it as being controlling in the first place. But it's the fact that he doesn't have a healthy understanding about what a good relationship with a woman, a significant other, looks like. That's probably what it is. Now, I shouldn't say that's a fact, but that's one of the commonalities in young men. It would be hard to believe. Like, take a look at Janie. Janie's got to tell him how to be a man. He was allowed to be a man now and fight his own battles. Oh, thank you for the permission, Janie. Oh, we go for that big romantic walk. Oh, like, big fucking wow. You should be going for a walk every day. Remember our first date? How long ago that was? You got her because she was traumatized in the first place. Now she's worked out of that and realizes, oh my God, this isn't going to work. This dude's a fucking weirdo, and his mom is even weirder. So much for adulting together. You guys treated her so poorly that she isolated herself away from you guys internally within the household. Of course, she couldn't do that with Jack and Lily. They're too old. So Jack and Lily were really on their own to play around. And I mean, it's not that big of a property. You guys want everybody to think Malaya wasn't engaged. What did you want her to do? Play with them all the time? She has to look after the child. She's there already. It's not like she was gone, fucked off somewhere. She was at the house. She was just not doing it up to your standards, your high standards of child rearing. When the cameras are rolling. So I believe that there was some isolation going on, but it would have been because of how fucking crazy Janie was, and Daniel, because Daniel, he can't speak for himself. He's a zipperhead. He had to move back home with that old bag, and she hightailed it back out into the RV because she didn't know how long this was going to take, how long this was going to last. I couldn't imagine you guys saving money with a newborn baby. This Logan's a fucking idiot. She's an accessory. Absolutely she is. A willing participant.
You guys don't want any questions asked this way? That's fine. I'll stop talking. I get all the time in the world. It's not like I have a life anymore. God, there can't be that many more questions for you guys to ask me. I told you everything that I know. Like, I mean, do you want me to tell you what color the sky is today? Like, how much more?
The fact that she's being sarcastic at that point in time with this topic and subject matter. It would be highly inappropriate for her to do it. Especially her, because she was there, the last person to be seen with them, and she has all of she has this great story that's out. You shouldn't think that it would be a big problem to scrutinize a little bit, to ask them questions, because how hard could the questions be? It's like any question she's got an extreme sensitivity to, especially if it's around the fabricated narrative that they gave the RCMP. Because, of course, there shouldn't be any reason to have to question what it is that they say, because, of course, they're telling the truth. Now, that's sarcasm. The fact that you don't expect any questions and you're revolted by even the idea of there being questions around the things that you say, Janie, is a problem. You want to give that dog a polygraph, Cindy? Ruff. Bark twice if she's lying. Ruff, ruff. I thought Janie liked being a hermit. LOL, to my knowledge, hermits aren't social butterflies, Osprey. Yeah, well, she's a woman of many contradictions. She's very complicated. She's dynamic and volatile.
Can I answer? Like, how many more questions is there? God, I answered more questions than they did in my interview.
You God, you're so
I have no
unnecessary.
idea where to search. The only thing I can say is keep...
She got no idea where to search. See, it's ridiculous that you wouldn't have spent all of your time talking about that, perhaps. It's funny the things that she spends all of her time talking. It's answering questions, everybody else's questions about this circumstance. Oh, God. So hard done by. Oh, my God. All these questions. You guys are just so crazy. Fucking crazy people. I'm a hermit. I live in an RV. And you're the crazy people.
Keep the flyers going. All this place has been searched. It's been turned upside down, inside out. There's nothing more they can do here. Like... They even checked the septic tank. They checked the well. They checked everywhere. They checked...
Listen. Nobody thinks that you guys buried them on your property at this point in time. They've already, searched that. So they say. So why do you keep insisting that is just this great big thing? Why emphasize and spend, all of your emotion on this and being fed up and exhausted with, like, that's an actual question people are raising? It's a diversionary tactic. Sidetracking, right? Amongst a couple other things. It's nice to be appreciated, Mr. Hemi. Yes, you're right.
Under my tray, under the trailer. They had a drone under there. They checked here. They checked everywhere. There's no other place that they could search here. The kids are not here. The only search that you could search is out there in the world.
Anywhere but here.
I felt comfortable answering your guys' questions because nobody was coming to me all at one time. And as I said, I have nothing to hide. I did my interview. I'm free speech now. As I said, I felt comfortable doing my interview. Everything I'm telling you is what's on my interview. Only I am showing you what happened and where it happened. That's the only difference of me talking to you guys now. As I said, when I gave my interview, I felt this great relief off of my chest because I actually had someone that was willing to listen to me and not judge me.
What does that have to do with Jack and Lily missing, do you think? She's so self-centered and focused on not just her innocence, but her own emotional state. Why would you be off kilter? Something bothering you?
So, and you guys are not judging me right now. You probably will after I get off here. But...
Joyous, and thank you very much for the super sticker, darling. I appreciate that. God bless you.
I have nothing to hide. I had nothing to hide. I would have come out sooner. But the thing is the investigator said, even told Daniel to stay out of the press, stay off of the YouTube talks, stay off the TikToks, stay off of Facebook, because it would hurt their investigation.
Oh, really? Why do you think Janie has the need to lie right there? That's a big one. Janie, the police never told you not to go to social media, not to talk to the media, to stay quiet and all of this because it was going to hurt the investigation. This is a missing child investigation, isn't it? What exactly would you guys call this scenario? Oh shit, Mr. Hemi. You want me to spark one up for us? Puff, puff, pass, AB, have a hit on me. All right, Mr. Hemi, thank you, my friend. That's very generous of you, by the way.
I am so tired of this investigation shit. I told.
Whoa! She's so tired of this investigation shite. Like, why? Shouldn't you be exhausted because nothing's getting done, or shouldn't you be eager to get on with things? Shouldn't you be eager to find Jack and Lily? When exactly did you give up psychologically? You think so, Explore Car? I think that whatever she was struggling with beforehand, this situation has exacerbated. And it's quite possibility that because she was struggling with her mental health, and she was, I would think she was, because she moved out of her preferred location and residence of that trailer and into that RV because she couldn't handle all of the noise. The dog's really sensitive, right? So is she to all of the screaming, the noise, and that scenario was detrimental to Jack and Lily in this circumstance, because that resentment early on right away built up to something. So I agree with you. I agree. But it doesn't put you in a hostile, combative state of mind, especially when you're talking about these children, and it shouldn't. You can't have it both ways. You can't claim to be so exhausted about something that you're not participating in to begin with. Remember, you're busy not being bribed. You're busy shooing all of these investigators and reporters away. Why would it be exhausting to her? It's nothing. She doesn't actually have to do anything except pay attention, and that's her problem. She's watching and reading everything. She's exhausted by the amount of shit that people are calling out about the things that she said early on in this case. Why? Because she's the alibi. She's an important part of all of this, because this nonsense story is the concocted one that together they gave the RCMP. And without Janie there to corroborate any of the nonsense, the RCMP would probably be treating this a little different at this point in time. We've already heard her and Daniel tell this story two different ways. It's not really something that you have to convince people of, because they've been calling it out since the get-go. But she's blew her own story up. Really, the police have to see that, have to have known that to begin with. To us, it's very important, because we can rest assured that these fuckers are lying. No question about it. The more that you look into it, it's really lying about everything. It's lying about each and every detail. Yes, Cindy Clark, we will quit with the questions when the truth be told. And there's only one truth in this circumstance. Nobody cares about your personal manipulated truth in this scenario, Janie. We care about Jack and Lily and what happened to them. And that's what people will always care about in this circumstance. This stinks to high heaven, and it's not because you guys look good. And look at how far of a hole that you've dug at this point in time for yourself.
I told them this 2 months ago. And yet, we had one report from the RCMP of what they have done. It's been a month since we had an update on anything. So I just got it in my mind, it's time that I spoke out. And I did. No, I'm sorry, I don't have any pictures of Jack and Lily to share with you. I'm sorry. I don't really have any pictures of my other 2 grandchildren. And because I got to see them, the only pictures that I even have of that I get pictures of is my other 2 grandchildren. I don't have any pictures of Jack and Lily. No, I'm sorry. I got to see them every day. Every day. So, no, I'm sorry. Malaya would be the only one that would have any up-to-date pictures of Jack and Lily. The ones that are on the flyers right now, let me have a look, are actually the up-to-date photos of Jack and Lily, because Jack and Lily just get their hair cut not long before that. So the pictures on the on the flyers are up-to-date pictures. Yes, my RV was searched twice on Friday and Sunday morning. As I said in my interview, I might have said Monday morning, but it was Sunday morning.
Yeah, you're right. Who is that? Broken Goth doll. She's hostile and angry because 2 small children going missing from her property is of the utmost inconvenience to her. Oh, yeah, exactly. You get that. That's the whole reason for mentioning it in the first place. This helps build her look like a victim at this point in time. How she's being victimized by something or other.
On Friday, I had search and rescue check my trailer. The reason why is this officer Mason was going to come into my trailer, and I said, there's a dog in there, and she said to me, if you interfere in our investigation, I will have you removed from the premises. That's all I was saying to her, is there was a dog in there. And the reason why I said that is my dog, this is his property. And as I said, if my brothers or my family come and they knock before they come in here. My dog is not a vicious dog, but it is his property. He knows.
So it's interesting that she takes the time to misspeak about this. You see how different it is between the reality of the situation? Why does she have the need, do you think, to misinform people? Like Belinda's come out, obviously, and said the contrary. She was there when they had the back and forth on the Friday, and it wasn't Janie inviting them in. She was refusing them entry in that circumstance, to the point that the cop then had to tell her that if you don't allow me in there, we're going to have to just go ahead and get a warrant for it anyway. But the reason for bringing it up was so that she could mislead you and telling you that is because she had a dog in there, just like she had to tell you the reason why she was crying out in the front of the trailer. And then the reason why Justin was crying.
People that come here, he did not know Officer Mason. And the reason why I said there was a dog in there is so she would not open the door and something happened. So after that incident happened, I got search and rescue. I think his name was Rick, to come. Him and 3 searchers came and searched this trailer. And then...
So you know what would have been interesting is to go through the body cam footage of the incident, that particular search, and monitoring how much things change from all 3 searches throughout that time. Because listen, it's just protocol, number 1, that if you make a call in that somebody's gone missing from your property, they start from ground 1 and they search every area within your house, even though that you've already searched. And they start from your inside your house and work outwards to verify everything for themselves. That's just procedure. So coming back and searching on Sunday tells me that they're coming back to try to pull some forensics in that sense. So it would have been interesting to see the difference of how much that RV inside changed since the cop first went in on Friday and Sunday after the fact. Joyous N asks, thank you very much for the $10 super chat, saying, why didn't she put the dog on a lead? Sheesh. Well, you wouldn't even normally have to even ask that question. Your point is taken. One would just think that, yeah, no problem, go in and search. It's only a 30-foot fucking RV. You know, it's only going to take 30 seconds, a minute for you to go in and out. To verify that there's no children in there. That's not very difficult. It's like looking in the back seat of a car, for Christ's sakes. Because it is a car. Oh, her camper. Oh, are you sure you don't want to call it your condo? Why don't you just call it your condo? Your timeshare in the backyard. Oh, shit. She is so deceptive throughout this in things that it doesn't, you know, you can speculate as to what she's really hiding, of course. It gives you carte blanche. But the reality of it all is if you have the need to be lying in this circumstance, you're withholding guilty knowledge. So the question becomes, is just how culpable is this woman in the circumstance? Why is she protecting Daniel so much, and why is she casting suspicion upon Malaya in this regard, when really she does it probably out of necessity? Is anything to shed suspicion in the moment away from herself is the probably answer in my mind. But you scale out and zoom out even farther, the sheer act of doing so in the circumstance really makes you wonder how culpable she is. A lot of us are set on Daniel, and I still am, Daniel being the prime suspect, because he spent, you would think, more time around the kids at this point, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. What are they really hiding here? Celia, she's a nut about her dog, over invested his response to Joyous N. She sleeps in its kennel. Well, the kennel is the RV. It's like being locked in the goddamn truck with your dog and sleeping with it. Everybody loves their dog. I love my dogs. Don't have any anymore. But not that that's a big problem, but there's a hygiene problem within there. It doesn't seem like it's very clean living. There's a kennel within the RV, you think? I don't think so. I bet you that dog drives. I bet you the dog sits up in the driver's seat. That's its kennel. When's the last time you started that bad boy up? Darren Getty's probably towed that thing there and backed it in with the backhoe, trying to make her an earth house like he saw on YouTube. Like, the place would be a hell of a lot better. It kind of looks like that's what's happening. Like, they want to dig it into the earth and make like an earth house, only out of like an old RV in that sense, which is interesting for a project, but it seems like an unfinished project. Just gonna see. No, it's still steel, I guess. You know what I mean by earth house. It's just a really cheap earth house. Like, you're never going to tell as soon as you like backfill all of that in, right? Looks like it's got about a 6 or 8 foot ditch there, and then she's parked the RV beside it, and then they can like grade over and fill that all back in, and she can just live happily ever after. Like, this is wind in the willows. I always liked earth houses, but I romanticize the hell out of things. Now that I see it in operation, I'm like, I don't know about that, bro. That's pretty nasty because all of a sudden you're stuck with that nastiness. You're stuck with the nastiness of whatever happened for the previous 50 years of that RV's life. Cum stains all over the goddamn place. I wonder what that place would look under the UV light. We'll pop a UV light through that hole, see all the craziness that goes on in there. She's a female version of creepy guy. Janie looks like that dude from Men in Black with the alien in its mouth. Janie says this dog sleeps on her bed. Sounds like the dog doesn't leave her much room in that sense. Well, she's become codependent with the dog. They've become one. The dog's probably stressed out in that.
I heard afterwards that Malaya let people in here to search the trailer. So this trailer was searched twice on Friday. And it was searched again on Sunday morning because Officer Mason came with 3 people and she asked me to take my dog out of the camper, which I did. And they searched this trailer. And as I said, they even looked in my washer spinner. So yes, this trailer RV was searched. And as I said about the cupboard, I have no cupboards in my trailer because I renovated it. And if they searched my trailer, if I did have a cupboard in here, they would have searched it. So there is no drugs, there is no guns, there is no sex toys of any kind in any cupboard. So, does that answer your question for the second time? Here, be nice in the chat, or I end this conversation right now. The lady that was asking me questions, I wish she continue answering me questions. If not, I am done. When she is done asking me questions, you guys can comment all you want. I have nothing to hide. I lost everything in my life. So, after I'm done talking and telling my side of the story, the truth, if you want to comment and say whatever you want, believe me, I do not care.
There's a lot in there, right? First off, you do care. If you have to signal that to everybody, especially more than once, it tells people that you're the only one that cares about it. And you're threatening that same audience in a passive-aggressive way that you don't need to be there. If they can't keep it together in your live chat, you'll just move on somewhere else. Right. Oh, you're just in such high demand, Janie. Wonder who had to bribe her to get her up there doing this. But she had to signal that her side and the truth were one and the same. They're 2 separate things. Her perspective and the truth and the reality to the situation should have been identified to even an innocent person in that circumstance, looking for the truth, trying to figure things out. But she's too busy trying to clarify and straighten people's minds out who have questions in the chat about her story. It's completely different than whatever happened to Jack and Lily, isn't it? It's to be expected by the authors of the story for us to assume that one thing has to do with the other, and it doesn't. Joyce, it doesn't answer mine. Belinda saw you bawling and refusing to let them in on Saturday. I thought it was a Friday.
I'm telling you guys, if you don't believe me, that's your problem or your opinion. If you want to give a comment, I am all done with this once I've talked to you guys. No, I thought everything was going well with Daniel and Malaya. I have never seen them fight. I've never really seen them arguing. When I was in there, I'm not sure about what happens when I'm not there. As I told the reporters, and I'm telling you guys, I live in the RV, they live in the trailer. I let them have their personal space, they let me have my personal space. The only difference I seen in Malaya that day of the disappearance is when I saw her outside and she was standing there holding Meadow, and I had to ask her what was up, and she told me that Jack and Lily were missing, and I asked her how long. That's the only behavior difference that I seen in Malaya.
She hasn't even told you what behavior difference there was yet. But here's a good point, because the reason why she wants to express that Malaya was without any emotion is because it's the easiest to explain away, because if there was lacking of emotion, then there's lacking of questions around why the emotion or why she was in the state she was in. It's just easier to fabricate a nothing. That's what she's doing here. But she's forgot to tell us what the difference was in her behavior. Hopefully she corrects herself right after this. I think she does.
Except for this time that the altercation happened at the end of the driveway, which I have no knowledge about. I didn't listen to what I just went up to her and said, please don't.
And she has no knowledge about the altercation at the end of the driveway. She was allegedly the primary person going off, attacking physically. Was it the pink-haired psychic? What's her name? Her pink-haired psychic friend. Malaya's at the end of the driveway because they started suspecting shit just wasn't right around there with you guys. Especially this cockamamie story. And yeah, that would probably trigger the old lady because she's the author of it.
She was crying. I said, please don't tell me that Jack and Lily are dead. And then, as I said, Haley and her friend, I think it was Shelby, I can't be 100% sure, started saying stuff. I wasn't in the mood to listen to arguments. I didn't want to fight because whatever was going on had nothing to do with Jack and Lily. That's when I ordered them off the property. The police came. I gave my statement of what I've done. Other than that, that's the only difference that I've seen in Malaya's.
She still hasn't described the difference in Malaya's behavior, but spun it around and told you that she just did by telling you a completely different story. What did Malaya have to do with Haley and her friend fighting and blaming Daniel at the end of the driveway that you conveniently left out? The reasons behind what was going on. Nobody cares about your behavior or your vantage point. Yeah, sounds like a warm, cuddly type of grandma. Oh shit! I wonder if she can clean a fish. I wonder if she can clean a carcass, like venison. She can cut up some meat, maybe. If any of that'll bother her. She has about as much tact as a sledgehammer. Grammy Hatchet. You guys are terrible. She's just an old hermit trying to mind her own business.
Whatever you call it, the personality or whatever she changes. Sorry, in Malaya was that day.
What?
Now this is me myself.
She just totally avoided telling you the behavioral changes. Like what behavioral changes? She just referenced them, that there was behavioral changes, but she's not. It's difficult to describe. She's pretending to have just told you about Maleha's behavioral changes without actually doing it, and then reinforcing it again. Two completely different ways with different stories. All right? By the way, Janie, no, you just didn't. You just told us that you did, but you didn't. You told us about Shelby and this other broad and you having a brawl and you not knowing anything about it. The fact that you just weren't into playing Scrabble or Connect Four or fighting, you just went ahead and just kicked them right off your property then. You don't know what the hell's going on. You just weren't in the mood of figuring anything out. You just went ahead and kicked them right off your property because there's nothing to see here. Why do you have the need to divert and just skip over all of the important information? Again, each step of the way you've done the same thing. It tells us that you have guilty knowledge, Janie.
If my children were missing in the woods, or if somebody has taken them, I would be so hysterical. I would be running around, screaming and hollering, looking everywhere.
Well, you are hysterical. You're constantly hysterical, Janie. Listen to yourself. You're hysterical, borderline right now. Just speaking about Malaya in a disparaging manner. They're not your grandchildren. You've made that quite clear. And then you contradicted yourself because you try to frame it in a nicer way. And then you come around and turn it back on Malaya as though why she's somehow not acting right. You're not acting right. She's not even around to talk for herself. The fact that she's silent speaks volumes about what's happened. And like she already knows.
Crying just like a normal person would be. That a mother. You can't tell me that you carry a child for 9 months and something happens to them that you're not going to get hysterical and you're not going to be crying and screaming and everything. Well, tell me. I would be. And another thing, I'm going to tell you something now. If something happened to my children, my boys, I would be so hysterical even though they're 34 and 33 or 33. I would still be.
So she's admitting to being hysterical right now. If that's not even a word, by the way. She's hysterical right now because things are happening to your Daniel in real time. And you're doing everything that you can to protect him and lie on his behalf and fabricate this false narrative out here in the public eye. Assume his alibi. And she does cry for herself, broken goth doll. She can't even remember her kids' ages. Somewhere around there.
Be hysterical if something happened to them. Even though they're growing up. Mama will always be a part of their lives. No matter how old they are. And Mama feels for those kids. I don't care if I'm 85 years old and my kid is 60-some years old. I am still going to worry about my children. And I am still going to cry for my children. So you just look at what I've seen and what you've seen on the tape of Maleha's interview. Does that look like a woman that misses her children? Please answer me that.
There she goes again with this not making any sense and then telling you to answer. You didn't even phrase that one in the form of a question. Usually you spin it around and answer in the form of a question. You make a statement and then tell us to answer it. Well, she's wanting you to fill in the blanks for her and her to give you some affirmation. It's a classic con man tactic, right?
If there's no more questions, I've pretty well answered everything that I could answer on my part. As I said, I'm not answering questions about Malaya, about Daniel. It's all about Jack and Lily. I told you what I've known and what I've seen. I hope it helps you guys, ease your guys' minds. And I thank you guys for letting me talk to you and for not judging me for when I'm talking to you. And thank you to whoever was answering the questions.
That was some baby talk. Baby talk with Janie. You guys'.
I appreciate you volunteering to do that and making it easy for me to answer questions. And I hope you keep praying for Jack and Lily. And I hope they come home soon. And when I go on again, if there's some questions that you guys have not answered and I see them, I will answer your questions. So thank you for taking the time and listening to me babble.
She's going to sit there and stare and look for questions that you guys haven't already asked. She's like, there's only a certain amount of questions that need to be asked in a situation like this. And she's pretty much touched all of the areas that you really actually only need to touch, and everything else is just meaningless. What was that for? She didn't even answer any questions. She just asked you to answer a question, but she posed it in the form of a statement. And it didn't make any sense. Does not compute.
Get it out there, and thank you for letting me cry on your shoulders. I appreciate it. And thank you, Ken. You'll know what it's about.
Oh, there's your buddy Ken.
I appreciate that. So I'm going to
Fuck you, pal.
take off now. I may be on a little later, I may not. But thank you very much, guys.
Yeah. She goes from sobbing to normal.
Oh, there's just one last thing I'd like to say. I don't know how many people are from Nova Scotia or Pictou County or whatever. I would just like to say this, and this is my opinion, but to Robert Parker and Tim Houston, you took the time to go over to the RCMP station and talk to them, but you didn't take the time to come here and see how we were doing. And you're all about the community and you're all about the people. Well, we were two people.
So here she is trying to really portray the victim so much to put it on that warden and everybody else, that she is somehow the victim in all of this at this point in time. Like it's said and gone and people can wash their hands of it and never think of it again. Like it's not an ongoing situation with them. She's really trying hard to make herself look like she is the victim.
That needed you and you were not around. And I don't think that was right, because you're there for everyone, not just people that you're favored to. So if you hear this, or if you go into this chat, or whoever knows them, please let them know that I do not like what they have done. Hi, I'm sorry. I just seen a comment there. I didn't see Malaya put the kids in the car.
She doesn't like what they have done. Well, who is she to say what's happened? How do you know what they've done if you don't even know what has happened?
That's one thing I didn't see. And Cheryl is Malaya's best friend. She's the one that was on the beach with Malaya. I apologize. I thought the picture of Justin and Daniel on the bike was taken by a drone, but if Cheryl says it was taken by Malaya, she's probably right. I wasn't around when the picture was taken. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was her friend that asked about the picture. There's so many names. Like when I seen Cheryl and she said about the picture, I took it was Malaya's friend. I'm sorry. As I said, that's all I know. Oh, sorry. Yes. But I didn't know who took the picture. There was so many drones around here. I thought it was the guy that took the picture of the property that took that picture. That's all I know. I didn't know if it was Malaya or who took the picture. I can't be sure. I thought it was a drone. Look, there was so many people here that day. I don't know half of the people. I don't know most of the people that were here. I only know the people that were here from the community, and some of friends that I know were here. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I was away most of the day with Justin on the four-wheeler. Him and I took off and we just went. So I couldn't tell you who was here, to be exact. If I ran into somebody I knew, I'd talk to them. If I didn't know, I said hi. So like I said, Malaya called me on my phone, and I called her back, and she told me to get back here as soon as I could. I don't know what was discussed between her and everybody else. I just know when I got back here, I went up and she was crying, I put my arms around her, and then Haley, and I think it was Shelby, I said, I'm not sure, started accusations. I wasn't listening because I was so upset because I thought that she was calling me back to tell me that the kids were deceased. I said dead in my statement to the cops, but I'm sorry, I mean deceased. And then the next thing I know, all these cops, I think there was 5 cops showed up, and they took Malaya aside. Actually, Officer Mason took Malaya aside and talked to her. The other 2 people, I ordered them off the property, and an officer took me aside and got my statement. And after that, I left and went and talked to Daniel to see if he was okay. Because apparently, if you listen to Logan's TikTok or interviews on TikTok, she can explain more to you than what I know. So I know Daniel was upset, and I went to see him. That's when I left everything, and everybody took off. I didn't know where anybody was going.
Well, so much for her truth, right? Logan can tell us a lot better about your truth than you can in this circumstance. They really had as many people as possible there to confuse the crime scene, cover up their tracks from where they had been the previous midnight to 5 a.m., 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. A lot of people are talking about the 10 p.m. time frame as being whenever something happened to Jack and Lily, and the circumstance probably happened between 10 and 11.
What was going on in the whole kerfuffle or whatever you call it. So I went and talked to my boy to see if he was okay. After that, everybody just left. So I don't know what went on. See, the way I thought is anything else that happened here that day was not important to me. I want to stress that wasn't important to me. The only thing that I was thinking about that day was finding Jack and Lily. And I spent all day, except for when I came here and had a little bite to eat because my daughter-in-law brought some food, and I had a sandwich, and then she took the rest of the food into the trailer, and the ones that were in there, all her family, ate all the food. Anything that anybody brought, they took it to the trailer, and they ate it all. We didn't get anything. We had to defend for ourselves. As I said, it was like a family reunion. They were in there talking and laughing and going on. So,
interesting way to frame the situation. You're the ones that invited everybody over, and now you're complaining that they ate all the food that they brought to entertain themselves because Daniel and you were busy avoiding the police.
and the only time that I went into the trailer is that time when I seen them all laughing and carrying on was to tell Malaya that Justin and I were going back out to look for the kids. And she said, "Do you want me to shut the chickens in?" That's the only time that I set foot in that trailer all day. Except for when everybody left and the police officers came and asked Daniel about the pink blanket. I was there when they went out to the garbage can and took the pink blanket out of the garbage. Other than that, after that was over, nobody else was around. Everybody left. And I just sat in the trailer, and some of my friends came and asked me how I was doing, and they were very supportive of me. And God love one of the girls that was there, one of the friends that was there. I had a tick bite on me, and it was starting to get. This was on Saturday. I had a tick bite on me. God love her. She went to the pharmacist and got me pills because I wouldn't leave the property. I never left the property all the time those kids were missing. And after the search, I still don't leave the property. I may go to town maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. I stay here and tell reporters to get off my property because I don't want to talk to them. And I'm a homebody. I'm like a hermit. I don't go anywhere. And I was that way before this all started, before the disappearance of Jack and Lily started, and I'm still a hermit. Oh, there's one thing that I forgot to mention. On my interview, and I'll tell you now, on my interview about the sliding door, the lady that did the interview, her name is Allie, very nice lady, and we seen Daniel, and Daniel got on the bike and he sat on front of the bike until we got back to the pipeline, and we dropped him off with some of his friends, and then Justin and I took off back home. This investigation, or people saying, oh, she opened it up lightly, or she did this, or she did that. I got Allie to open the door twice. So, she was the one that opened up the door.
She spends way too much time rehashing and retelling the same old thing that she's been spouting about without ever telling you its significance or why she thinks it's significant or adding anything to advancing our ideas of what happened. She's telling you that she's giving you the reasons, but there's nothing of substance coming out of her mouth. It's rhetoric at this point.
Oh, and I also in my interview told them that if they want to come take up my driveway, or if they want to come lift my trailer, or lift the RV, or anything they wanted to do, they were more than welcome to come and do it. I have nothing to hide. The kids are not here on this property. But they did.
See, it's very, very abrupt right there. It's almost taunting the police and purposely wanting to use that as a way of saying, hey, I'm not innocent. But what she's really doing is saying, I've invited them to come here, but the kids are not on this property. The kids are not on this property. How could she be so sure? Number one, if you didn't have an idea of what went on that particular day, where they could have went, how are you so sure that the kids are not on this property? Because you are sure that Daniel got rid of them far away from the scene of the crime, the place that you reported them missing from. The kids are not here on this property. The kids are not buried here on this property.
This investigation, or people saying, oh, she opened it up lightly, or she did this, or she did that. I got Allie to open the door twice. So, she was the one that opened up the door.
So?
Oh, and I also in my interview told them that if they want to come take up my driveway, or if they want to come lift my trailer,
It's got a mouthful.
or lift the RV, or anything they wanted to do, they were more than welcome to come and do it. I have nothing to hide. The kids are not here on this property. But they did put a drone underneath underneath the trailer. They had an army guy come in with this great big drone that they use, and they put it underneath the trailer. And I offered to go underneath the trailer with a flashlight to show them that Jack and Lily weren't under there, and they said no, that they could get under there with the drone. And I'm not here for you guys to feel sorry for me. I'm just here to tell the truth. You guys have your own opinion of me. I have nothing to say about that. I'm just here to tell the truth. I want Lily and Jack found, and that's all I want.
Can I clear something up about the four-wheeler? Justin and I were the ones driving on the four-wheeler, but we picked Daniel up around the pipeline. Justin and I went up around the pipeline, and we were going through an old road, and we seen Daniel, and Daniel got on the bike, and he sat on front of the bike until we got back to the pipeline, and we dropped him off with some of his friends, and then Justin and I took off back home. So Daniel was on the bike, sitting on the front of the bike, so there was me, Justin, and Daniel on the bike. He was sitting on the front of it. But Justin and I had the bike out all day. I'm fine. I just went through your comments to see if there's any questions you had to ask, and I just wanted to clear that up. I just want to say, Daniel has done so many interviews, and to tell you the truth, if I was in his place, I'd be so confused because people have been asking him so many questions, and it's just, I don't know how anybody that has been interviewed keep everything straight. Like, I think a little things get twisted and everything, but you got to understand, we're all under a lot of pressure here. All this was put on us, or especially on Daniel, because Malaya's not opening her mouth, and Daniel's taking all the backlash for this. So if it was Malaya Malaya opened her mouth, just how much backlash she would get. So you got to cut Daniel a little slack here, guys. He did not use the ATV all the time of the search. It was me and Justin. And as I said, we picked Daniel up on an old road. We went up the pipeline, Justin and I did, and we picked Daniel up on an old road. So Daniel did not use the bike. The only time he was on the bike is when we picked him up on the road. And believe me, it's my four-wheeler, and believe me, I don't let Daniel drive my four-wheeler, believe me. And yes, he is telling the truth. The bike did have a wiring problem because the mice got into it and chewed all the wiring off of it. So that's why it wasn't used neither until it got fixed. I've been looking at the comments, and if you guys have anything wrong, don't get mad at me, but I will correct you guys. If you go back at the screenshots that Malaya sent Belinda, you will find the time of when Malaya told Belinda what time she called the 911. It's all in her messages to Belinda. No, Daniel did not drive the ATV.
It's funny how she reverts to somebody else's message, i.e. the script, so she doesn't have to remember it. You know what I mean? Normally, for a person who's being truthful, they could rely on their own memory rather than have to direct you to somebody else who said it to somebody else a while ago through an assumed text message. Do you see what I'm saying? What was so important about that text message that you identified it as something that you should be believing? Or what makes it significant? To Janie especially, not just to you and me. I mean to Janie at that point in time to be bringing up, as opposed to just answering the question or just responding. It was 10:01, it was 9:58, it was 8:30.
It was Justin and I that were out on the bike all day. We picked Daniel up on the pipeline on an old road. We went up, Justin and I went up the pipeline, and we went off on an old road, and we found Daniel there. We picked Daniel up. Daniel was sitting on the front of the bike, so there was Justin, me, and Daniel on the bike, and we drove Daniel back to his friends that were on the pipeline, and Justin and I came back home. Well, if you know what a four-wheeler is, it's only big enough for two people. Justin was driving, I was sitting on the back, so we made Daniel sit on the front because there was no room for him to sit on the back with me. Okay, no problem. I'm sorry, people, but I do not accept friends' requests, so please don't send them to me. Is there anything else you want me to clear up? Because I'm going to bed soon. So, if you got any questions, ask them now. Okay, I already answered this question. My brother called me at 8:48 and asked me if I wanted to go to town. I said no, I was going back to bed. So, I laid back down. I was playing on Facebook. I dozed off. I'm not sure what exactly time. I didn't look at the clock. My dog woke me up. I heard the kids outside. And then I dozed back off again, and the next thing you know, I heard Daniel hollering Jack and Lily's name. Then about maybe 5-10 minutes after I heard him, I'm not sure exact what time because I didn't look at the clock. And when I opened the door, Malaya was standing there in front of the RV, and I said, "What's up?" And she said, "The kids are missing. The kids, Lily and Jack, are gone." And I said, "How long?" She said, "About 20 minutes. I don't know what time I seen Malaya outside because I didn't look at the clock. I came in, I grabbed my boots, and headed up to the woods. So I gave you guys a timeline. 8:48 is when he called me. I dozed off. I don't know exactly what time I heard the kids. And according to what, if I read it correctly in the chat between Belinda and Malaya, she said that she called the 911 at about 9:40. So that's what I believe it says. You'd have to check out the conversation between...
Purposely trying to obscure the timeline right there. Notice how specific she is now. She had to mislead you first and take you in a big circle and all around and then just drop that 9:40. Are you sure it's not 10:01? Why is it so difficult to get a timeline around all of this with these people, do you wonder? She can't even remember if she heard the kids before or after her brother called at 8:48.
Malaya and Belinda. I'm talking about the discussion between Malaya and Belinda, not the discussion between Malaya and Cindy.
Why does she keep
Malaya
referencing
was supposed
that?
to tell Belinda, according to her screenshot, that she called.
Why is she describing It's a Criming Shames infographic with the collection of messages between the conversation between Malaya and Belinda? Is she trying to include Belinda in all of this? What is she trying to do? Align narratives for the future? Why is it so important that she's mentioning and talking all about that particular conversation that everybody sees, as opposed to just going with the conversation? One thing doesn't really have to do with the other. She's making it have something to do with it.
911 at 9:40. The one about between
And
Malaya
as far as I can tell,
and
that's not
Cindy?
even true at all.
Is that the one you want me to look at? Okay, there's something I want to ask you guys about the message that you're putting up on the screen about where it says Cindy.
Oh, here we go again. Here we go again with another one of these fucking questions to nowhere. She's not asking anybody a question. She wants to open up just to deflect and take your attention away to sidetrack you. That's the easiest way to sidetrack you. Oh, here's something I needed to ask you about. And then she proceeds to go on and make absolutely no sense. Try to follow her in this. What is it that you need to ask everybody's input about? Deflecting and avoiding? Well, it's definitely avoidance, Rob.
Murray, did you notice that the person in blue, there's no little person beside the message that were sent? Usually when you message someone, the picture of the person comes up at the bottom of the blue.
Stupid thing.
Malaya has the same phone as me.
Baby talk? Some of her baby babble?
And whenever I message somebody, my little picture comes up at the bottom of the message. So you see where the blue is lit up? How come there's no little person on the bottom of the messages?
You tell us. Who the hell cares?
Yes, we do have Wi-Fi calling here. And when I call or message on my phone, if I send a message to somebody, my little picture shows up on the bottom of my message. And then when somebody messages me back...
Wow. Oh my God. Sidetrack.
Their little pictures... She messaged her mother at 11:33. If my kids were missing, don't you think I would have called my mother before that? Yes, when a message is read by someone that you are messaging to, if they read it, their little bubble comes up on the bottom of what they wrote.
You're probably blocked, bitch.
Or I should say their picture. So that's how you know somebody has read your message. And as I said,
You can turn that off in the settings.
says on there 11. Sorry, I have to keep going back. It says that she missed a call at 11:33. Okay? Why would she wait so long if the kids were missing and she made a 911 call to about the kids? Why did she take so long to call her mother?
What kind of fucking bullshit question is that? Where are you going with this? Like you're trying to insist that there's something suspicious about Malaya and all of this. You're trying to look for something that's suspicious to focus on to get the heat off of yourself in the moment. But there's no way of doing that, stooge.
Well, all that I can tell you is Malaya has the same phone as me. And it doesn't matter what phone I chat on to somebody. The little thing always comes up after on my message when somebody looks at it. That's all I can tell you. And here's another thing too. I called my brother at 10:19 to tell him that the kids were missing. And Malaya waited till the time she called her mother to tell her the kids were missing. And I got on the phone and started calling my brother right away. And by the way, on my interview, the cameraman took pictures of my phone and my name on my phone to prove it's my phone. And he even took a screenshot of when Malaya called me when I was on the pipeline.
So why would it matter what time anybody notified anybody? The whole reason you want to put suspicion on, at least make up, like if you're going to make up bullshit, make up a bullshit reason as to why it's important. That would make it a better lie. But you have nothing. You have a question, and you want everybody else out there to assume or to make your point for you. All right, that's not going to happen. You have to make your own point, and you never have a point, Janie. You've yet to make a point. Ask yourself why it's important to tell anybody and notify anybody in the moment that your kids are now verified missing, and now there's a situation and everybody needs to come to your house. The only reason people need to come to your house is to benefit them in getting away with everything. It's part of the process. Your grooming process. You are trying hard to make it look like you guys are all victims. All right? Every step of the way, a little too early. At what point have you decided that your kids are missing and never coming back again? Shouldn't you be in a state of their kids should just be around the corner? Or that somebody took my goddamn kids? One or the other. You didn't ever want to commit to either way of thinking because that would direct some closer questions. You want everybody to fill in the blank for you and that be left alone at that.
And told me to come back here. Well, why send a screenshot to you guys or to this chat showing when she made the phone call to Malaya? Shouldn't it be when Malaya made the phone call when the kids went missing? Okay, here's another thing.
No, that wasn't even a thing right there. You never pointed out anything.
If I get a phone call from someone, from my daughter saying my kids were missing, wouldn't you leave right away to come over to see your daughter?
What is it she's getting at with asking all of these hypotheticals? Isn't it extremely annoying to you out there? The answer is yes, my friends. Why are you in this stage asking hypotheticals? What you're doing is you're measuring your audience.
And be there for her when she needed her, not like an hour and 33 minutes, said that she was leaving then. Nothing happened the night before. I already told you. I heard the kids here Friday morning. Nothing happened to those kids Thursday night.
No, the real question is what happened to those kids the night before, and she is sensitive to that. She wants you to disregard that thought because it's ridiculous, because nothing happened Thursday night. I told you, I heard the kids Friday morning. So therefore, it negates the question? I don't think so. Not at all. What is it about that question that she wants to divert you away from in that moment? That was pretty harsh. I appreciate it, Amanda.
Friday morning I heard them. I just love it when I put on a message here and then I see all these little people just lining up to hear what I have to say. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question, Vanessa, because I do not know where the kids are, so I can't answer it. As I said, I don't know where the kids are. Believe me, if I knew, you don't think that I would let the investigators of the RCMP know where they are? Believe me, I wished I did know where they were. I would, if they were close, I would go get them myself.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't care what anybody said or what anybody done. I would go get them myself, but I do not know where the kids are. I am sorry. I hope this nightmare comes to an end soon, because if not, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Believe me. And my dog is going to have one too, because he's just like me. He's so nervous. He's so upset. He's so much anxiety. Because I'm got so much in me that my dog is feeling it. And it's not fair to him. So I would love this to be over too, believe me. I would do anything in the world to find those children. Hey, I'm going to...
See, she doesn't talk anything about the source of that anxiety at all. Just that she's so anxious that she's going to have an emotional mental breakdown. That's guilty knowledge, folks. Innocent people don't have to worry about that. And especially if you're being affected by this whole thing, she's certainly not articulating it. She's certainly not talking about the emotional impact on herself. She wants you to perceive her as a victim, but she's got all of these shallow, half-assed reasons that make absolutely zero sense. She didn't succeed.
Answer about 2 more questions, and then I'm calling it a night, because I'm starting to get a headache. Repeating myself over and over again. Okay, if somebody asks me a question that I already answered,
right,
I'm going to say answers,
people.
And then I'll take the next one. I'll give you a chance for 2 more questions, so they better be questions that I haven't already answered, please. I don't know who the lady is that was asking me the questions earlier. If she's here, she can ask me the questions, please. Okay, if the question is already asked, I'm going to say answered it. Then you guys can go back and look at the answers, because I'm not going to be here all night answering all your questions over again. I'm sorry. I'm getting older by the minute. Thank you. I appreciate that. I cannot say they were abducted by a stranger. That's my opinion. As I said, I lived here for 26 years. I know the traffic on this road.
So here she is she's downplaying the stranger abduction. So which one is it there, honey? What is it that you do think? It's so telling that she doesn't want to straight out say what she thinks happened to Jack and Lily. She doesn't comprehend, though, that it can only be a few things. And that if the kids aren't going to be in the bush and just right there, then somebody had to have taken them. It's either or. either or. And she doesn't want to give any one of those two really too much credence or talk very much about those. Well, we know something else has happened. But I'm saying from the perspective of an innocent individual, a parent who was victimized, you couldn't help but feel violated that somebody has your children, especially that first night.
And I brought my kids up here. And Jack and Lily have lived here for 2 years. So I can't understand why it happened Friday, after them living here for 2 years. And the way Malaya was acting, in my opinion,
You're right, Amanda.
I feel like she knew what was going on. And there's those 3 questions that I asked earlier. 1, how would anybody know the kids were home from school? And 2, how would they know when the kids were outside playing? And 3, when I seen Malaya standing outside of when I opened the RV door, she wasn't panicked, she wasn't out of breath, and she wasn't crying or yelling for those kids. Well, you can talk through the mic like I'm doing, because I would never be able to keep up with all your guys' typing all at once. Would I hear a car pull in my driveway where I live in the RV? It depends. If it's a newer car, probably not. But if they parked on the side of the road, I wouldn't hear it. My dog alerts me when people come in my yard. So when he hears a voice, he barks. I get up and I look to see if anybody's there. My dog usually sits in the window. But that morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed. When he heard the kids yelling, or kids talking, I should say, talking, my dog was in bed with me, and I told him, it's the kids outside playing. He shut right up. Then he barked again when Daniel was yelling out the back door for the kids. I didn't pay any attention to him because I thought he was telling the kids to get into the house. And besides, Jack lets my chickens out. And I let my chickens out at 7 o'clock that morning. So Jack has a habit of going around, moving stuff, and the chickens get out underneath the pen. So I thought he was yelling at him about the chickens. We've been saying that from the beginning. She only made one interview since that day when the kids went missing. She hasn't opened her mouth to anybody else, as far as I've known.
She hasn't opened her mouth. Isn't that an interesting way to put that? As far as we know, she hasn't opened her mouth to anybody else. As though old Grandma Janie here knows that Malaya knows, and that there's a narrative out there that needs to be adhered to. She hasn't opened her mouth to anybody. She hasn't opened her mouth. Don't worry, boss.
We can't get any information.
She hasn't opened her mouth because Janie and Daniel and I made sure that she wouldn't. We threatened her. We intimidated her into silence.
Of the investigators, we've asked, but he says that they cannot tell us anything about their side of the family, what they're doing with them or what they are talking.
You shut your mouth or you're going to end up just like Jack and Lily, Malaya.
Talking about or anything, because it has nothing to do with us. Just like they cannot tell them anything that we have said or we have done. So, if you want to blame anybody or anything, blame the RCMP and the investigators for not putting out a report on what has been done so far in this case. to answer your question to that, what do you think my motivation is for Malaya doing this? I can tell you this. I'm not Malaya. I don't know what Malaya thinks, and I don't know what Malaya does. So I don't have any idea what her motivation would be for her doing this. That's...
Well, isn't that interesting? You've observed the kids for 2 years. You spend all this time around her kids, but yet you don't spend any time around Malaya when it's convenient. Well, the kids aren't going to be too far away from Malaya, are they? And you're not too far away living in that old fucking RV. All right? You know all about Malaya. You couldn't wait to talk all about Malaya for the last God knows how many hours now. Now you want to emphasize that you don't know what any of her motivations could possibly be. That tells you that her the motivations, the question asker would be, the answer to her question would be, yeah, Janie. The problem is Janie. The motivation would be Janie. Janie is a negative influence around there that can't wait to tell you all about what goes on, and at the same time tell you that she doesn't know anything because she leaves, sleeping dogs lay. People just go about their business. She has no idea what happens around there at all, especially if it's negative or if it's going to come back at them in the court of law, especially then. Again, Janie, you can't have it both ways, especially that you've already spilt the tea. It's one thing if you're absolutely mum and silent about everything. You're anything but silent, Janie. You've said way too much. If you just kept it to whatever script that you had, in theory, it might be okay, but you go beyond this and really tell on yourself about your real feelings. You might not. You can always get over technical and say, "Oh, I don't know what would have her. I don't know what she was thinking." Of course, you never know what another person's thinking. But what you're really saying is, I don't know what could have gotten in Malaya for her to have done all of this, and it looks like she's done something because here, let me ask you another one of these questions. Confuse you, and then have you try to figure it out. And ask you to figure this out, as though this is even going anywhere in the first place. It's just you trying to create mystery, obscurity. Janie Copperfield, she's an illusionist, right? She's like the David Blaine of bullshit. She's creating illusion. Well, she's not very good at it. Practice. I think we're all of similar opinions in this chat, Explore Car. We're all of similar opinions, and we all see the problem. The commonality is the fact that there's a real problem here. And even more so, we're not just going to have Daniel and his fucking moron clan walking around the internet trying to make it look like he's innocent in the circumstance when you're clearly not. And that's worth shit talking.
The question you have to ask Malaya. As I'm going to say to everyone that is listening, I live in my RV. I've got no doubt
that they'll put whatever.
They live in the trailer.
They've already put blame on Malaya, okay? This whole problem is Malaya's fault for putting it on her and Daniel. Imagine saying that when two kids are missing. Fuck, may as well just put the cuffs on you. Who talks like that? She certainly doesn't like children. What's really, really creepy about the whole thing is that she then goes and tries to pretend that she does like kids. It's like the boogeyman trying to dress up like something less threatening. Oh, God. It's creepy. We'll figure out what we blame Malaya for after the fact, but we can see what the problems are in the household leading up, and there's no escaping that. And the fact that they've already outed it and stated it earlier on throughout many different messages here and there that we've put together, and then now after that they want to go and change their story. Red flag. That's a big red flag. It's interesting though that they don't want to talk about Jack and Lily whatsoever in that circumstance. So much distancing language right up until dozing in and out of sleep in the middle of the day. Sun's up, days busy, they're in bed pretending to be in and out of sleep, and then tell you and then contradict this narrative after the fact. They've contradicted their own narrative every step of the way. Normalized us into listening to it and accepting it just by simply being around and in people's chats that way, and communicating back and forth whether or not the person on the screen can understand it or not. And they got Daniel right there to help you all along the way, and Durwood. Doesn't matter who's delivering the message, it's still the false bullshit narrative. And here we are in September, and they still want to continue on talking about that particular false narrative. There's so much more to talk about in this circumstance, which is the reality of the scenario. We don't have to ask any more questions from Daniel or Malaya or anybody to talk and ask the right questions. Don't expect them to give us any answers. They probably regret treating Jack and Lily like shit at this point in time. And they're desperate not to get caught. She's pissed Malaya left and it made them look really bad. I think that's the excuse. That's an excuse. I don't think that's really accurate, Miss K. I don't think that's really the only thing. I think Malaya not being around helps the situation. Their immediate situation, but they can't shut up. They've talked too much. It's one thing to be talking and managing this because there's a genuine purpose for it, but their purpose certainly isn't to find Jack and Lily at any one time. They want to sidetrack and focus on things that are meaningless in the moment, under the guise that the crowd will hopefully recognize it as an actual talking point, like the sliding door, for example, like focusing on this sliding door as opposed to the greater problem at hand that's missing Jack and Lily. She's not allowed to see her grandchildren, meaning Janie, just because what happened. No, because Daniel's ex won't let them anywhere near any of you. That's right. Because of this. Believe me, that should tell you all you need to know about what her ex or how trustworthy they are. They look highly suspicious. The fact that they're actively lying at any one point in time on social media is really frustrating a lot of people into having very strong feelings towards them a certain way. It says a lot. Daniel's ex-wife is keeping the children from him and Daniel. She must have good grounds for that. Well, of course she does. Especially now. What's the difference between the Daniel now and the Daniel that Malaya first knew? Was a question Mike brought up. It's not the first time that's been brought up, but it's a great question to focus on if you were out there and you see that scumbag douchebag up there in that stupid Facebook group. There's a great topic. Some of these questions you could put up in there in that particular group as a topic. What's the difference between Daniel Martell now and when he first met Malaya? What do you think the difference is between Daniel Martell now and when he first got to know Malaya? Oh, I've changed. But it's all your kid's fault. It's all your fault. Things just got too crazy. I was on the tweak. I was doing that mathematics. You stayed with him for 2 years knowing he was hooked on the shit stuff. What else could she do at that time? She just had a newborn child. What the hell, Malaya? So she goes back to this pleasure palace. So Janie, think about Janie and Daniel being high around the house all the time with Janie there, and she doesn't know any different. That's really bizarre. You live with your mom and you're fucking high all the time on the meth? That is so fucking weird, bro. You're a weirdo. What's going on, Donnie? Yeah, Amanda, seemingly that's what we hear. Just 5 minutes with their mom. Malaya was straight out of Dodge. I would have to think that Cindy saw how fucking high and wacky Daniel was and how manic he was in that moment and desperate and just off, and Janie, and the fact that there was really and they didn't want to answer any questions in the moment made it seem a little bit suspicious to them, and they pulled her out of there at that point in time, the same that they were going to do in December. Drop everything, come with us, you can get it towed elsewhere afterwards. Now's the time. You can't allow them to go back. Something's happened and nobody wants to talk about it. The people who should be giving you answers are pretending to be out there searching. Well, how long do you fucking have to search before you come to a conclusion at all? A search team, well, that's what a search team is for. They're going to come in and rule out all of that. What makes you have to, run ahead of them seemingly? If you weren't already trying to destroy evidence that you had out there from the night before. Because the only thing the search party would be out there recognizing and tracking is any fresh prints. Like the fresh prints of Garlock Road there. Daniel, the fresh prints. Fresh ATV prints. Would lead them right to the disposal site. Hurry up and proceed with this no body. Malaya never once went and searched Amanda Graham. Isn't that interesting? That Malaya never once, with all of those people there, never once, went out and physically, even beforehand, to verify that the kids were even missing to begin with. What point did you determine that the kids were missing? That's very specific. Usually it's, I can't find my kids. I can't find them yet. They were here, now they're not. Listen, they already had the entire story, which was unverifiable even to them because it contradicts the fact that they were in and out of sleep. But the fact that they provided you with such oddly specific information to put the blame back onto the victims, the missing children, 2 of them at that, not 1, but 2. They walked out of there naked voluntarily in sub-zero, beginning of winter, magically disappeared into the bush. They weren't interacted with. Hell, they didn't even see the kids since the night before. They were still in and out of sleep. They didn't quite recognize. They can't quite commit to quite a real story because they say they were sleeping. And then later told you that they really weren't sleeping that deeply. Still just as meaningless. They avoid committing avoidance throughout everything. They avoided physically the cops that day. Don't even want to tell you. Remember, Daniel told Malaya to hold off calling the RCMP because he went and did that Superman jump up there to the top and back, which only took him 30 seconds, only to come back and fuck up the story for his mom, Janie, because he mentions the fact that he was the one who talked to Janie in the driveway as opposed to Janie's story, which was Malaya, emotionless out there. They saw Jack and Lily as such a problem that they fought over corporal punishment. They fought over, and especially to Daniel and Janie, they needed to be controlled. They needed to be controlled physically because they found them obstreperous. They found them to be too much. They found them to be of such annoyance. Malaya had to do something and she refused. Their mother, this no good mother who's nowhere around to speak for her missing kids. If these were my missing kids, I would be hysterical. It's odd that they mix and match their associations with Jack and Lily when it's convenient to emphasizing any points of their statements at any one time. Contradictory and doesn't ring to be any true because it can't be both. You can't put the blame on Malaya and say, don't come down on me, they're not my grandchildren, and then immediately turn around and say how much you thought that they were your pretend grandchildren. Especially when you want to draw some sympathy from a bunch of strangers.
What goes on in the trailer is their business. What goes on in my RV is my business. It would be a different thing if I lived in there. I would know what was going on in their lives. But where I live out here, I have no idea what's going on in there. Yes, Cindy has been to this trailer, I would say, at least 3 to 4 times that I know of. And I've talked to the lady once since she's been here. She's never been to any birthday parties. When she does come over, she has taken the kids, I believe once, maybe twice, I'm not sure, taken them, both of them, but sometimes she only takes one kid at a time because she can't handle both of them at the same time. So I never really, I'm going to say 3 or 4 times, I don't know, could be more. I never really took notice how many times she was here because, hell, it's none of my business when she comes and when she goes. I know Patty has been here a lot more times than Cindy because Patty has never missed a kid's birthday party. And when Malaya and Daniel moved into the trailer, Patty came over more than Cindy ever did. And then a while after that, when Patty wasn't able to drive or didn't want to drive, her Hayden would come over to the birthday parties and drive Patty here. So Hayden has been here at the trailer. I will answer your question. No, I did not see Malaya at the end of the driveway. Malaya was seen in front of my RV when I opened the door about 5 or 10 minutes after Daniel was hollering for the kids. I opened the door and Malaya was standing in front of my RV, and I asked her what was up. She said the kids are missing. I said
Isn't it interesting how long we've gone through this? How many times, even in this particular sequence of videos, how many times she said the exact same thing the exact same way, like robotic systemically said it. Like it's a trigger for her, and she just goes into a split personality and automatically starts reciting, this particular script. I already told you, I seen Malaya standing out in the middle of the driveway. Emotionless.
How long? She said 20 minutes.
Well, according to Daniel, it was him that told you about 20 minutes.
Well, that's a good question. I wished I knew a way to get Malaya to talk, but there's no way you're going to, because wherever she is, she's got people watching her or...
See, one could interpret that as a veiled threat right there. Well, I wish I could figure out a way to get Malaya to talk, but you're not going to. You're not going to get Malaya to talk because no matter where she is, she's got people watching her. That's a fucking threat, Janie. You just threatened Malaya over this. And she wants you to think it's the RCMP watching her and she's going to be snagged up for doing something. Well, if you're threatening that, that would indicate that you know what it is that Malaya is hiding and that she's done something to her children. You keep insinuating all of that to the point where it's impossible to ignore. You're volunteering this information.
People telling her what to say. I don't know. I can't tell you how you can get to Malaya. I really can't. Her friends are not only saying what they want to say, and it's usually towards Daniel, not what Malaya want, or not sticking up for Malaya, because if they're asked questions, they just say, "Oh, Malaya wants her time to herself." So I don't know how you're going to get to Malaya.
See what she did at the end there? Just completely obscure any sort of point to that statement. He just introduces her friends and that they're speaking on her behalf, and then re-emphasizes a point that she never made, that she wants you to accept. And she'll say, "Oh, I'm glad you accepted that answer." What a douche.
Believe me, it's been, since I did my interview on Thursday, my chest has been lifted so much, because as I said, I had this inside me for 2 months, because the
What? Your chest lifted up so much because you've had something inside you for months? That's just weird. That sounds just off. What? Oh my God. Sometimes you wonder if she's being purposefully... Yeah, we've already think that she's doing it on purpose. Like when she resorts to this baby talk. There's something about it that makes me laugh a little bit. It makes me giggle. I got to remind myself that she's being evil. Jeez.
investigator said that keep quiet due to the investigation. They even get after Daniel for speaking to the press and everything, because they were scared that he would say something that would interfere in the investigation. That's all I can tell you. That's why I kept quiet, because they told me not to say anything. And then
they incorporate that with, they're insinuating that anything that Daniel says is going to complicate their investigation into Malaya, because anything suspicious with this case only has to do with Malaya from their perspective, because she's such a horrible person and a mother, and look at her. She's silent. We're not silent. We're so virtuous in this, all of this. The fact that you need to have to do that would show you that you know what happened to Jack and Lily. But you're so concerned about how it is that you look in your own emotional state because you're scared shitless that the RCMP are going to come back about 3 a.m. and slap the cuffs on you at any point in time.
Just as I said, I got fed up with it. It's been 2 months since this happened. I told the investigators everything that I'm telling you guys. I told the news press everything that I'm telling you guys. And I've just had it because there's no updates on what's going on. And it's just frustrating me. And I just couldn't deal with the stress anymore. So I had to let it out. I don't give a shit if I get in trouble for what I've done or not. If they want to haul me away for doing saying something to...
She stumbled there. So what is it she's done? What did she do? She's really admitted to it, right? Something right there. I don't care if they come and haul me away for what it is that I've done. But what is it exactly that you've done there, darling? That's what we're trying to figure out. Aided and abetted? Accessory after the fact? Obstructed justice? What's up, Bonnie Randall? Hey, Shay.
Harm their investigation. Let them come and do it. Right now, they got to find Jack and Lily. They got to stop pussyfooting around and start looking for Jack and Lily. They didn't take long to come here and search all this place and ask us all kinds of questions and everything. And now they're not bothering with us at all. So the only thing I could say is they must be working on her side. Just try to fight.
Well, because they're not related to the kids, they wouldn't be part of any sort of updates or information. That would be the first one, Janie. And they're building a case against you.
Figure out what's going on her side. Because as I said, I haven't talked to the investigators. It must be about 3 weeks or more. Nobody's been around here. Nobody has been in contact with us. I don't see any RCMP officers around here anymore. Or nothing. It's like, to tell you the truth, you want to know my personal opinion, it's like to them this like nothing never happened here. It's like they're done here. I already asked that question about my knowledge leading up to the disappearance. I've already answered that question. As I said earlier, the grown-ups can deal with this. It's the children that I'm worried about, what they're going through. I was saying today to somebody, just think what little Jack and Lily's going through. Why? Where's Mommy? How come I can't see Mommy? Why is this happening to me? And then there's Meadow. Meadow can't see her brother and sister. And as I said, when she sees them, she's only small, she's only a little child, but when she seen Jack and Lily's face, she lit up like you wouldn't believe it. And then there's my other 2 grandchildren. They played with Jack and Lily out in this yard for 2 years. I watched them play, and now they don't know what's happening. They don't know where Jack and Lily is. They don't know what happened to them. It's the children that I'm worried about. As I said, us grown-ups can deal with it. It's the children that's having the hard time with it.
Don't think so, Janie. Don't think so.
As I said, I am going to tell you this. And I said it before, what goes on in Daniel's life has nothing to do with me. I don't care what he does. I don't care where he goes. I do not question the boy, what he does, where he goes.
That's probably true. So that's a great way of distancing yourself away from the key prime suspect in all of this, by telling everybody you don't know what it is he does, where he goes. You don't even care. Yeah, that's probably part of the problem, that you never did look after your children properly, you stupid idiot. Right? If you had cared, maybe they wouldn't have turned out like the tweakers that they are today. Child killers. You're not caring is a real big problem throughout all of this.
I am, as I said, I'm a hermit. I stay here. I don't interfere in his life. I don't interfere in my kids' lives at all. Whether it's Daniel or it's Justin's. They live their own life. I live mine. So to answer your question, I do not know. Okay, group chat, if there's no more questions, I'm going to say good night. And thank you all for listening and not judging me and letting me cry on your shoulders. I really appreciate it. But now I'm starting to get a headache because I've been here on here most of the day answering your guys' questions. And I think it's time for me to hit the hay. So I say good night.
Good night. Thank you so much for...
I, for one, will not be taking screenshots or...
What is all the rest of this?
TikToks of Sunny and of Dolly. I'm sorry, I can't stand Dolly. And to tell you the truth, I can't stand Sunny's interviews now. I don't watch them. After what she said about me, I don't go on them anymore. That's a question you would have to ask Darren, why he said what he did. As in my opinion, Darren is telling the truth. He told me a lot that I don't want to tell anybody.
Listen to this. Listen to this crap. Janie, you're a scumbucket.
That's up to him. He has his own opinion on things, and he says what he says. So you could either take it with a grain of salt or not. Do I agree with his assessments of events? Darren is close with the family on Malaya's side, and he is close with Daniel. I never met the man before in my life. I didn't even know who he was until one day he walked in the yard and he asked for Daniel. And I went in and I said, Daniel, there's someone here to see you. He said, who is it? And I said, I don't know. And I come up.
So much for Daniel minding his own business. They're lead separate lives. Didn't you just get finished telling us that? Now you're the butler around there. It's not that big of a place. Derwood came over and then I went and got Daniel for him because he was looking for my boy. Are you home, boy? You got a friend that stopped by?
I asked Darren who he was, and he told him, so Daniel got up. Then they got talking, and he was telling about what he knew or what he heard or whatever. And then I said, well, this is a man that knows what's going on both sides. So I felt comfortable talking to him. I told him the whole thing. That's when he said, do you mind if I go on and say what you know? And I said, I really don't give a you know what.
So here's this random person that comes. She's got no idea who it is, but she doesn't mind opening up, not knowing maybe that this person could be a perpetrator. Oh, I'm just so thankful this weirdo who just showed up looking for Daniel, who knows so much seemingly behind the scenes. Oh, I just can't wait to open up to Derwood O'Grady.
So he went on. He did get some stuff mixed up. I did correct him on that. What he said, I believe, because you take You take a man that is putting his own life in danger, putting his life with his family and his partner, putting that all in jeopardy.
You're exactly right, Amanda Graham. How the F does Durwood know anything? He wasn't even there. Precisely, the Iron Sheik would say. Precisely. Precisely. Naturally, Janie would have all of the answers, but she doesn't want to answer. She doesn't want to talk into detail. But she recognizes somebody else that comes up there, Durwood, who seems to know so much about everything that's going on. He must know something. He must have been a key investigator. He was part of the RCMP Truth Verification Squad, Durwood O'Grady. Because I trust him because he didn't judge me, Miss K. Yeah. Why does it matter if he judges you or not? She's dropping a dry hint. You guys, she's trying to shame and it's part of her victimhood. She's trying to get some sympathy because she's feeling all these people are judging her. She's such this famous individual and you guys don't understand what it's like to be her. You've got no idea the complexities of living in a 35-foot RV in your driveway.
He told what he knew. He lost everything. Now, who would in their right mind? Sorry, that's not the right words, but who would do that if they didn't know what they were talking about, or what they heard, or what they said? Because you got to look at it. He has more to lose, and whatever he said about it by trying to find Jack and Lily test that anyone. He said. Lost everything. I don't know nothing about what was said or anything.
Well, he got all his information from you, you dummy.
The investigators got after him for letting that out there, and then they came out with the statement after that that people have had polygraph tests done. So, he got in trouble for that. Daniel asked for the lie detector test. Yes, he was the one that begged the investigators for the polygraph test. They did not ask him. He asked for it.
Another lie.
Daniel and I still take walks through the woods to see if we can find them, just to get out and look. But we haven't found anything. As I said, I do not know where the kids are. In my opinion, they are not in the woods. The searchers are saying they are. But come on, after all the time they have searched and never found nothing, and all the helicopters and the drones and all the area they have searched, those two children, Jack and Lily, could not have walked very far. As I told you, when I walked with Jack and Lily and Daniel and my other two grandchildren in the woods, I would have to carry Jack through the woods. There's no way you're going to make a kid do something they don't want to do. Believe me, I've been through it. So Jack and Lily would not have walked in the woods. The only distance they would have walked is up to their little fort that they built. Lily is scared of bugs and spiders, the opposite of Jack. When I see them out here in the yard and there's a fly or a bug or something, if Jack gives her one of her bugs, she goes, I don't want that, or worms. She won't touch worms. She won't touch bugs at all. She gets scared of them. She runs in the house when there's a fly or something around her. So I can't see them going in the woods with bugs and flies and... No. Well, they called all the search off here. There hasn't been a search here now since... oh, God, I can't tell you. There's nobody around here. I think, in my opinion, I think the investigators finally got it through their head that they're not in the woods. So, as far as I know, from what I'm hearing, they are investigating their side now. They did all they could here because there's nobody around. There's no RCMP, there's no investigators around anymore. As I said, I haven't seen investigators in about 3 weeks here. They don't come here anymore. Daniel still keeps in contact with them if something comes up. That's all I know. I don't know what he tells them. I don't listen to his conversations. I don't, as I said, he's old enough, he makes his own choices. And he says his own thoughts. I'm not sticking up for the boy. What he does on his own. As I said, just like me. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody tells me my thoughts. He stays out of my life, I stay out of his. And when they lived in that trailer, that whatever went on in there was their business, not mine. I live in the RV.
But you overhear everything anyway, and you can't stay out of everybody else's business to begin with, honey. See, she's distancing herself. She's acknowledging something that she's acknowledging all of the negative points ahead of time. She knows that there's things that people would find suspicious, like everything that they fight about, and she wants to make sure that everybody knows that she has no idea about any of that. What they do up there is their business, except for when Derwood O'Grady stops by.
Not Lily and Jack's grandmother, but for the last 2 years, I became Jack and Lily's grandmother. They called me Granny. They called Justin Uncle. So yes, I became their granny the last...
Probably called you fucking Granny. And him that douchebag uncle.
2 years. And they called Daniel Daddy. You can't stop a kid from...
Probably because you made them.
From calling you Granny or calling him Daddy. If that's what they want to call you, that's what I let them call me. No, I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because the investigators or the RCMP didn't want me or Daniel to say something that could harm the investigation. But I'm not saying anything that's going to harm the investigation because I am telling you exactly what I told the investigators when they came here. I'm telling you the timeline. I'm telling you when I heard the kids outside. I'm telling you when I seen Malaya outside. I'm telling you about the footprints. I'm telling you about where I was raking. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't already told the investigators. And besides, the investigators, as I said earlier, the investigators are not telling us anything other than it's still an ongoing investigation. It's still a missing person. People sank that low on a chat that I was in that they thought they had it all over that Facebook that my dog killed the kids. And that really hurt me because my dog is gentle. But when it comes to their place where they're trying to protect, that is their ground and they protect it. So that's why I didn't want the RCMP in here, that Officer Mason. She started opening my gate to come in here, and I told her there was a dog in there, and that's when she said, if you interfere in my investigation, I'll have you removed from the premises.
that really hurt me because I was just warning her that there was a dog in there. And if she really wanted to search my trailer, she would ask me to take my dog out, which she did not. I got a searcher that was here to come, and there was 3 other searchers came, and they rooted this place apart. I took my dog out, so for the safety of them, and let them search. And I also heard someone told me that Malaya let them search here. She took the dog out and let them search here. And Mason came here either Sunday morning. I might have said Monday on my interview. I will correct myself. But she came here Sunday morning. I was over in the big trailer. I stayed the night over there Saturday night with Daniel. And she came. I seen her walking in the driveway. I opened the back door and asked her.
See, no sense staying in that 35-foot RV now that you have all of this room. Probably slept in the kid's bed. Hey, Janie? May as well move back into the main trailer. There's no sense staying in your RV in the back when there's all of that room open now. All of that real estate just opened up. Park Avenue again. You went in and stayed with Daniel? What sort of weird fucking relationship do you guys have? You went in and stayed with Daniel on the Saturday night then? Oh, he's a big boy now. He can think for himself. Little Bubby need his mommy? Daniel, did you need mommy to sing you a lullaby? Stroke your back? Get you to go to sleep? What a pussy. What a couple of pussies. Oh, it's just you and me. It's sitting in there fucking getting your stories straight. Trying to figure out how you're not going to get caught more like it. Oh, mommy was there. She was okay. Dude, you don't need your fucking mom for anything. You've got your mom in your life overbearing you as an adult. That had to have been a contributing factor to the negative juju within the home between Malaya and Daniel. Had to be. No question about it. Only Janie doesn't think of it that way because that's her boy. So wonderful. Such a wonderful Daniel. I don't care what the fuck it is he does or doesn't do. Sure.
Yeah, she said, would you please remove your dog so we can search your trailer? I said, give me a minute to put my boots on. I come out. I took my dog out. They came in here and they searched the place again. So my place was searched 3 times since this happened. Yes, if it wasn't for my dog being around me, I wouldn't have anyone to console me. He's a sweetheart, and I love him to death.
The dog's consoling you?
Yeah, dogs can be hogs when it comes to bed. Believe me, I know. If you would like to. But I know it's getting everybody mad in the group because nobody's getting their questions answered right away. But yes, I would like that. Thank you. I don't want you to feel sorry for my dog. I'm just pointing out about what my dog feels to what the kids must be feeling. That's all I'm pointing out. Don't feel sorry for my dog. I'm taking care of my dog. It's just that I was just saying, if my dog is going through this much anxiety, what are the children going through? What are Jack and Lily going through?
Again, you're prioritizing the dog over Jack and Lily. Not just speaking like to Jack and Lily like they are dogs, like you normally do. She won't quite get there. She won't quite commit to what it is she thinks happened to Jack and Lily. But she has to then conceptualize in order to tell you that, imagine what it is that they're going through right now as though they're still alive. So what you're saying is that they're still alive somewhere? Well, why don't you tell us where you think that they might be alive in that sense? Or you're just painting a what if. No such thing in that circumstance. Think they're magically living out there like a bunch of Ewoks in the trees?
That's my point I was trying to get across. My dog is a Heinz 57. He's got different breeds in him. You'll see him on the interview. And I'm sorry, my dog, as I said, is going through a rough time. He's under veterinarian care. He has lost some of his hair. He was there for a while. He wasn't eating. He wasn't doing anything. And the vet said that if I'm under a lot of stress, my dog is going to be under stress. So until I get rid of this stress, which I am now because he's starting to come around, she said that he will be all right.
So let's get the order of operations here. She's stressed out because the dog's stressed out because the dog's stressed out because she's stressed out. You're both stressed out. You're both stressing each other out, and you're both coming around. What the fuck is going on? Oh my God.
So I see my dog going through this trauma, and so I'm just imagining what Jack and Lily is going through and what my other two grandchildren are going through.
So you're speaking, you can't believe the amount of trauma that your dog is going through because Jack and Lily aren't around. All of the busyness after being searched by the RCMP has stressed your dog out, therefore stressed you out. And if your dogs are stressed out this much, imagine what Jack and Lily must be going through. Putting the dog again ahead of both of the children. Putting your stresses again in your mind ahead of Jack and Lily. But you keep coming back to Jack and Lily. I mean, this is an interesting dynamic. What is it exactly that's stressing you out about the situation? You've never quite said. Cyclically stressed out.
They don't understand, just like him. Like, it's really hard on
Jack and Lily don't understand, just like the dog doesn't understand. Jack and Lily don't understand because, and just like the dog doesn't understand. Man, it's so dehumanizing in that sense. She's so detached.
And what's going on?
Like, what's going on?
Us
You tell
adults
us.
know what's going on, but I'm thinking about the children. What are they going through? What trauma are they going through? Especially Lily and Jack, when they don't know what's going on. Like, how come I can't see Mommy, or I can't see Daniel, or I can't see Meadow, or I can't see my other two grandchildren? Like, I can't imagine putting myself in Jack and Lily's shoes because I wouldn't know. I don't know how they're feeling, but my opinion, they must be going through hell right now. I had the same problem last night with my dog. He laid beside me and he kept pushing me out of bed, so I didn't get a good sleep last night. But at least my dog is not as much anxiety now that I'm not feeling it. He has been starting to be more lively, and wanting to do more things like go out and play in the yard. When this was all taking place with all this drama going on, and all the helicopters, the drones, all the people, and the dogs and everything, my dog is just starting to come around now. If anyone has a dog, when they go through experience like my dog has, when there's nobody around, and then all of a sudden everybody have all these people come into your yard, and your dog is just like, wow. Like, it's just like putting someone that has been isolated from people for a long time and putting them in a crowd. It's just like they're just overwhelmed with all this here emotion, like they don't know how to control themselves. And I'll tell you something else. My dog, when I put him out in the pen where Lily and Jack was. That's all my dog does is go to the...
You put them out in the pen where Lily and Jack was. Did you catch that? What do you mean you put the dog out in the pen where Lily and Jack was? What do you mean exactly? Listen to this. There's some fucking leakage.
All the people and the dogs and everything. My dog is just starting to come around now. If anyone has a dog, when they go through experience like my dog has, when there's nobody around, and then all of a sudden everybody have all these people come into your yard, and your dog is just like, wow, like it's just like putting someone that has been isolated from people for a long time and putting them in a crowd. It's just like they're just overwhelmed with all this here emotion, like they don't know how to control themselves. And I'll tell you something else. My dog, when I put him out in the pen where Lily and Jack was.
When I put my dog out in the pen where Lily and Jack was. Oh, that's a juicy one, isn't it? I wonder what that means. I wonder what you're hiding there. What pen? What pen were Lily and Jack in? Oh, my boy. So that's how you discipline them. You put them in a pen. When I put my dog out in the pen where Lily and Jack was. Why would Lily and Jack be in a pen? Anybody? Anybody? Anyone? That's a good question. That's a good question. Oh, we've got some new things to focus on, isn't it? That is a good catch, Julia. I wonder what pen Janie's referring to. What sort of pen would you putting Jack and Lily in a dog pen, aren't you? The pen between the trailer spare time? The chicken coop? Is there a dog pen in there? Yeah, Celia, the kid in pen where Jack and Lily were. The pen, and she specifically said where Jack and Lily were. Pen, Jack and Lily. What were Jack and Lily doing in a pen at any point in time? Whoops. One more time. That's timestamp 2240.
What are they going through? What trauma are they going through? Especially Lily and Jack, when they don't know what's going on. Like, how come I can't see Mommy, or I can't see Daniel, or I can't see Meadow, or I can't see my other two grandchildren? Like, I can't imagine putting myself in Jack and Lily's shoes, because I wouldn't know. I don't know how they're feeling, but my opinion, they must be going through hell right now. I had the same problem last night with my dog. He laid beside me and he kept pushing me out of bed, so I didn't get a good sleep last night. But at least my dog is not as much anxiety now that I'm not feeling it. He has been starting to be more lively, and wanting to do more things, like go out and play in the yard. When this was all taking place, with all this drama going on, and all the helicopters, the drones, all the people, and the dogs and everything, my dog is just starting to come around now. If anyone has a dog, when they go through experience like my dog has when there's nobody around, and then all of a sudden everybody have all these people come into your yard and your dog is just like, wow. Like, it's just like putting someone that has been isolated from people for a long time and putting them in a crowd. It's just like they're just overwhelmed with all this here emotion, like they don't know how to control themselves. And I'll tell you something else. My dog, when I put him out in the pen where Lily and Jack was.
Putting him out in the pen where Lily and Jack was. Hello, Belinda. Belinda, Janie just mentioned putting the dog out in a pen where Jack and Lily were.
It's all my dog does is go to the door to see where the kids are, because he can't understand why the kids are not here anymore, because he's so used to hearing them out here, and he's like, where are the kids? Like, I don't hear them anymore. I don't see them anymore. So my dog has gone through a really rough time, just like I have.
Can you effing believe the audacity of this piece of shit? You spent all of that time trying to make it look like, one, your dog hated the kids, therefore you hated the kids because they're so noisy and they can't shut up out there. They affect your dog because the dog goes crazy every time the kids are out there. All of a sudden, the dog is so traumatized over all of the over the fact that Jack and Lily are missing. It's in this vicious cycle. They're both so depressed. So now the dog is traumatized over this. The same over the fact that these two individuals are no longer around. That the dog couldn't stop barking at, couldn't stop stressing out over. So Janie wants to say. She tells us both. It can't be both. And it's certainly, your dog isn't traumatized because the kids aren't there anymore. Stop bullshitting. Don't be stupid. Fact is, you locked those kids and used the threat of locking those kids in a pen, in a cage, over their heads all the time as coercion. Janie, you admitted to the kids being in a pen at some point in time. You locked those children down as punishment in your chicken coop, in your pen, treat them like the chickens. Feed them like the chickens. Feed the chickens worms. Jack likes worms. So you say.
Okay, I just got Daniel to do that for me. He put it all in the map thing for me. I'm not that technology to do stuff. It was an hour and 19 minutes from her place to my place. Sorry guys, Daniel just came in, but I asked Daniel for Cindy's address.
Here you go.
And he told me
I've got a loose theory on my head right now. Confined space. We got Janie talking about locking the kids in a pen. There's a possibility that the oxygen that was in whatever compartment, hold, pen that she made was so low because of whatever methane gas, the gas given off by the decomposition of the chicken shit, would be enough to deprive two miniature adults of their oxygen, thereby passing out due to the extreme surroundings and the punishment because they wouldn't shut up and stop annoying the dog in that sense. Are you talking about the pen up Belinda, in the woods with the wood? That does look like a pen too, doesn't it? That wooden pen. Why would she go and then put the dog in it? It got me thinking, though.
It's about an hour and 15 minutes away. So yeah, I will check that out because I do have her address. So I'll check it out from here to there to find out exactly how long it takes. I know Deerwood had so much on his mind the day that he came and I was talking to him. He, as you can tell the way he talks, he does kind of mix up a few things, but he does correct them. So just a little thing about the RCMP or the investigators. I'll tell you, the RCMP haven't stepped foot on this property since they left that Saturday night. The investigators have been around, and as I said, they got after Daniel for speaking to the media. So I can tell you right now, when the investigators come here, I am going to get blasted out because they were over around here that day when I was doing my interview. But I have a few words for them because, as I said, I lost everything. I have nothing to lose. If I shoot off my mouth to them and they don't like it, if they want to arrest me for speaking getting my voice out there and having my charter of speech and everything, so if they want to arrest me for shooting off to the media or on Facebook, let them go ahead. Let them do whatever they want to me. You can't stop somebody from telling the truth. So if that's the way they want to be, you let them go. I'm going to let them go ahead and do what I got to do, what they got to do. I'm not standing in their way. I told them that they're more than welcome here anytime to do whatever they want to this property. If they want to tear up my driveway to see if the kids are there, they can go ahead. If they want to lift my trailer, the big trailer, up in the air and look under that, if they want to lift my RV and look up underneath that, which they have already done, if they're not satisfied, they're more than welcome to come back and do whatever they got to do. I never stop them from being on this property, and I invite them to come back. I don't get to see Meadow. I already asked CPS about seeing Meadow, and that's all they say to me is due to the criminal investigations. They said that Daniel would give visitations first, and then they would look into giving me visitations.
What sort of investigations? Didn't she just say criminal?
So I have not seen Meadow yet. From my understanding, Malaya probably didn't know I was home because I usually go Fridays with my brother. And as I said, I didn't hear her yell at all. And even if she didn't know I was home or if I was home, you'd think she would have yelled to me in the camper to see if I was here. I don't understand her way of thinking. Only she knows what's going on in her head, and she's the only one that knows what she does. I have no insight into her brain at all or her head at all. So it's just like you guys. I'm in the dark as much as you guys because I don't know what's going on in her head. You never know after me speaking out and pleading for Jack and Lily. As I said, if Malaya has a heart, she won't do it for the adults. She'll do it for her children. But here's another thing that has got me puzzled and got me very upset is she's fighting tooth and nail for Meadow, but she's not doing anything about Jack and Lily. She's not on here pleading. She's not on here doing interviews, pleading for the kids to come home. She's not saying anything. So I'll leave it to your guys' imagination to figure out why she's doing what she's doing. I'm not sure what you're talking about at Old Church. There's no Old Church around here. If you're talking about the building up on the top of the hill, it used to be an old community center. And yes, it has been searched. I searched it myself. I walked all the way around it. I told the RCMP that I had already searched that, and I even searched the little camp that my neighbor has up there. I walked all around that. The RCMP, the searchers, everybody looked this whole area around here. Why do I think Malaya's family is keeping quiet? In my opinion, she doesn't want to let anybody know what happened. She doesn't want to let anybody know if she's involved in this. This is my opinion. But the only way you're going to get answers to what the truth is if you talk to Malaya. No, I do not take my dog out with me when I go shopping. Actually, what I do is I put my dog stays in the RV, and I lock my RV. So my dog is locked in the RV. The reason why I do that is my dog is kind of if he gets out and he gets out of the fence or anything, my dog likes to go for a little walk. Just probably like most dogs, go for a little walk in the woods, because ever since I had my dog, he's been fenced up, because I got him from a lady in New Glasgow, and she had him tied up all the time in town. So when I got him, I built a fence out back so he would have a place to run, and he's been fenced up ever since I got him, because if you have a dog that's tied up all the time and he gets loose or fenced up all the time, of course when they get loose they're going to want to wander for a little while. And he got away one other time on me, and I know this has nothing to do, but this is the way I felt. If anybody...
The dog, she's torturing that dog because she got the dog from another owner in New Glasgow, and the other dog only knows that owner. So she built the fence to try to keep the dog from trying to go back to her previous home, because this new nightmare that it was locked in, this twilight zone of Janie's RV.
Has this ever happened to anybody when their animals go missing? This is me, especially. I panicked. I ran everywhere hollering for him. I ran up and down the road. I even jumped in my car and I went looking for him. And that's a dog. I gave you right back to Monday. I told you. From Monday right up till Friday morning. That's when I heard and seen the kids. If you want, I'll go through it again. On Monday, they went to school. Monday afternoon, they were outside. Tuesday, they went to school. Tuesday after school, they were outside. Wednesday, they left at around 12 o'clock to go to Patty's to do laundry. They didn't get home till 10 o'clock. The reason I know is my dog barked and let me know. I opened up my door. I said to Daniel, I said, "You're getting home kind of late, aren't you?" He said, "I would have been home a lot earlier." Thursday morning, they didn't go to school. I heard they went to town. I don't know where they went. I don't know what they bought. Nothing. And then I come out of the tray. I heard the kids outside, and I opened up the door. Jack and Lily were right out here by the playhouse. If you look at the Google map, between the playhouse and the woodshed where the swings are, they were out there looking for worms and centipedes. Because when I opened up the door, Jack said, "Look, I found a worm. I found a centipede." I said, "Good boy." I said, "You keep looking." Then I went out. I started raking up the yard here for leveling out for a swimming pool for the kids, because I was going to put one up this year. Waiting for Daniel to help me build the fence, because he had to go look for his tools. Then after that, when Daniel came and helped me with put the 2x4s up, or the boards up on the fence, I continued with the fence. Then I came back in to get something to eat. I don't know what time the kids went inside or what time they went to bed or anything. And then Friday morning, I got up at 6 o'clock. I sat here and I played on Facebook. I sent a thing to my brother at 6:24. And at 7 o'clock, I went out and I did up the chickens. And I came back in. I sat here. I played on Team, which is the worst thing you can get addicted to. And then my brother called me at 8:48. Talked for 2 minutes and 59 seconds. He asked me if I was going to town. I said no. I said I'm staying home. I'm going back to bed to have a sleep. I went back to bed. It wasn't long after that. I can't tell you how long. I laid there for a little while playing on Facebook. I dozed off. I heard the dog bark. The kids were outside. I heard the kids. And then after that, I didn't hear nothing. Everything just went completely silent. And I don't know how long after that, I heard Daniel yelling for the kids. I figured he was yelling at the kids to get inside, or Jack was letting my chickens out, which he usually does. He let them out a few times. So I figured Daniel was getting mad at him for that. The next thing you know, I dozed off again a little, maybe dozed off, or I get up about 5 or 10 minutes after that, and I found Malaya outside, standing there holding Meadow on her hip, and she was holding her on her right side of her hip. Now, I don't recall if she had her phone or not. That wasn't important to me. The only thing is what I was looking at is her standing there, and I asked her what's up, and that's when she told me the kids were missing for 20 minutes. That I cannot tell you. I did not look at my phone at the time. I just know that after I heard the kids, I dozed off again, and then my dog woke me up. I can't tell you the time in between, but I know that when I left here, after I seen Malaya standing out there and asked her what was up, and she told me that Jack and Lily were missing, and I said, how long? She said about 20 minutes. After that, as I said, I came in, got my boots on, and I went up the hill, and I met Daniel, as I said, up on top of the old road just above my RV. So if you look at the map or the aerial view of my place, I don't know if it shows it you or not, but if you look at an aerial map of it, you will see an old road just up the top of the hill here. So when I get up at the top of the hill, I seen Daniel, and I asked him if he found the kids yet. He was in the vehicle, in Malaya's vehicle, and he said no. And he asked me if I was going with him. I said no. I said I'm going to search this area here, and I walked my property line plus a little bit more, where my RV and the trailer is, up to that top of the road. I walked up there, walked around along the old road and down, and came around by the 289, and then came back up the same spot, and that would be where the kids' little forts are. Oh, and just to let you know, whatever I'm saying to you is what I told the investigators, exactly the same thing of what I heard. And I even went and reenact what I think happened. And to tell you the truth, if I was a child that was in a fence and got out of it and was running, yes, I would be excited to go. And those kids are always excited when they're running around because they're always screaming and hollering. Believe me, I know. I observed it for 2 years out back.
So what does that have to do with anything?
Back here. As I said, that's a question I can't answer. As the dog barked when he heard them outside, and then it went completely silent, and my dog never said a word never barked after that until he heard Daniel yelling for Lily and Jack. So, you can all make your speculations or your opinions or whatever. That's all I can tell you. Well, she's coming from Wentworth, so the only thing I can do is put my address to Wentworth and see how far it is. Even if it is an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever, I don't know. I don't know her address over there. Still, it would take her a while to get here. Just the kids that morning. But here is something that I want to ask you guys and get your input. If the kids were out in the yard by themselves, let's just say, and they get out of the gate and were running up the driveway, I would know, or I would think the kids would be saying,
see, what she's done there, is she's looking for affirmation from strangers about her fabricated story. So she's getting the listener to conceptualize, let's just pretend that our story was true, that the kids were out in the yard. Wouldn't you think she's looking for that positive reinforcement for what it is that she's already said to people, which is a fictional story? Why would any of that fucking matter? And she expresses it in a way that's convoluted. It's disorganized.
Especially Lily. Come on, Jackie. Come on, Jackie. Let's go, Jackie. Let's go, Jackie. Because that's all she ever did was say that. Even up in the...
Just another excuse to put blame back onto the kids for getting out and running around. She's just taking the opportunity to put the blame back onto essentially the children, plus Malaya for not doing her motherly duties and otherwise being an attentive mother.
Woods with my other two grandchildren, if Jack is sitting there looking for bugs, Lily's usually saying, come on, Jackie, let's go. Let's go. So that's another thing I can't understand is if I never heard the kids running. If the kids were running out of the yard, out of the fence, my dog would have still been barking. As I said, because of Lily's.
Yeah, if any of that happened as you guys portray it happened, it would have made some noise. And you're saying that the dog, your measurement for everything, didn't make any noise at the time, and you leave it open-ended. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Joyce N. I appreciate that generosity. Thank you.
Loud scream and hollering. So, as I said, I heard the kids out here in the yard by the swings. And then I heard completely silence. So, you guys can have your opinions or you guys have your speculations or whatever. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, why didn't I hear the kids longer?
She wants you to fill in she's really insisting you fill in the blanks and answer her. That way she can turn around and tell the cops when they follow up on the question. She's filtering out some of the best possibilities for her bullshit story. It makes absolutely no sense, but it makes sense when you're trying to fabricate. What an idiot. How infuriating listening to her. Heaven's sakes. Thank God we're almost done.
If they get out of the fence and start running up the driveway or leaving the driveway. It says that she's on her way. Okay. On her way. Does that mean she's just leaving or she's already on her way? See, you gotta look at it both ways. And as I
Listen
said
to what
earlier,
she's trying to do. Trying to put
if
shade on
my
Cindy.
kids were missing, I would be right on the phone. Or, if my grandchildren were missing and I got a phone call saying that my grandchildren was missing, I wouldn't hesitate to drop whatever I was doing and hit the road and get here as fast as I could.
To do what exactly? It's a bit performative. It's important that you go and start spamming everybody else that you can't find your own children. No, you want to go and search for your kids. But this whole recognizing the sound of silence is more indicative of a particular event that occurred rather than her trying to remember this story. The silence and mundane don't really stand out to you unless just a second before there was the opposite. Noise, chatter, children laughing and carrying on. And then there was nothing. An immediate contrast.
I just looked at the phone messages thing again that said that she was on her way at 12:01. Okay, it's approximately, she lives in Wentworth, it's approximately about 2 hours and a half to 2 hours and 45 minutes from her place. So that would make her be here about 2 o'clock. No, she was way here before that. She was not here at 2 o'clock. So there's something wrong there, because she was here, and then she was here when my brother showed up, and he was here around lunchtime. So I don't know what the conflict is. I don't really care. But as I said, the only way you're going to find out the exact time is if she hands over her phone to the investigators and let them check. The only way you're going to find the truth out about that, which I have nothing to do with, is from Cindy and Malaya. I can...
It's interesting that she knew right where to say what she did or didn't have anything to do with. The only information that you're going to get in regards to finding Jack and Lily, which she's got nothing to do with, just a little addition, little trailer. Again.
I can only tell you that the time that I got my call from my brother, and everybody says that's the most important time, and that's the time that I showed them. So after that, I have really nothing to do with timelines, because I didn't check my phone all the time. So that is up to Malaya and Cindy to...
Look what she's doing right there. See, the cops didn't believe anything that she was fucking saying. The only thing that they wanted was some sort of verification, like something factual to put on their timeline that they didn't have to rely on her word for.
Tell the time that they interacted with each other. I'm sorry, I can't help you on that part. You're absolutely right, Stephanie. With everything that was going on here, as I said, I went up in the woods, I could back down, the cops were here, and then I went back up in the woods again, I could back down. Yes, I could be mistaken about the time Cindy showed up. Yes, it just went like a flash, too. Like the day here was just chaos. Everybody running around panicking. What it looked like is like a whole bunch of little ants. Everybody just running around looking for Jack and Lily. So yes, I could have the time wrong. Yes, I probably do. I will admit that. But as I said, I did not look at my phone. I did not have my phone with me all the time. The only time that I really looked at my phone is when Malaya called me and asked me to come back to the trailer. See, I don't know. That day was just chaos because, as I said, I don't know who all was here and who wasn't. So when the investigators came here to take my statement on that Friday, I gave them my phone and they recorded, took pictures of my conversation or my messages from my brother that morning, and they have it all documented. So I showed it to them and they took the pictures of it, so it's all documented. The only one that I can tell you about that is Patty. Patty, I know when she showed up when everyone left for the briefing, because her and I sat out on the back deck and we had a smoke. And then Cody, that's Haley's boyfriend, come back and took her and got her in the car, and he drove her car home because it was late, and then everybody cleared out. But as Logan said, Malaya's car was left down at the Lansdowne Station Road, and she is telling the truth. The cops did, or the RCMP did have her car towed away, because there's a picture floating around of her car on the back of a tow truck, And I seen that with my own eyes. The rest of the people, I don't know when they arrived. As I said, I was up the bike most of the day with Justin, searching for Jack and Lily.
That's what I said, unless you see the original phone.
She was out with Justin and Daniel all day without their phones, but actually with their phone, avoiding everything that went on so they didn't have to be questioned in the moment, fly under the radar, under the assumption that they're searching for Jack and Lily. You find, hold on. Another inconsistency from Malaya. She did not want Belinda to know where the kids were and Cody, from what I understand. Yeah, I understand that's what she said. Did not care to know or be involved. Well, she iced them out. I don't know what was going on at that point in time. We know that. Belinda says Malaya told me Daniel didn't want me to know. Now believes she didn't either. Probably because you would recognize the difference in possible problems within her lifestyle, Belinda. Bringing in more added heat from the Children's Aid. Isn't that interesting, Esther? So why did they spend so much time down at the pipeline and looking here and there? They were the ones that were eating up time. I think that their time would have been more valuable. But they really had to sell it in the moment, didn't they? They had to sell their desperation in the moment, so nothing more desperate than to run around like a chicken without your head, going in every which direction under the guise of searching for Jack and Lily. Then when the cops stop you, just start crying. Inconsolably. But that's only going to get you so far. Well, it's gotten them thus far. Jalen says Belinda Gray, in my opinion, they were both using. That is the only thing that makes sense. Yeah, in this particular scenario, sadly, that's probably a factor. I wish they got her out of there in December. I wonder how long that they had been having issues for. Like when things started to change, when Daniel wasn't that dude like he was on their walks under the waterfall on that sandy beach. Oh, that sexy Daniel that you first got to know. Well, I can't wait. Can't wait to be that Daniel that you first knew. You know, all of a sudden split his personality back to another person. Explore car. Right, but Cindy would not report that the children were in harm's way by living with rug users. That tells me a lot about Malaya's mother, Cindy. There's no need to quite go that far yet. We don't know enough about the situation. We just assume that we do, Explore Car. There's no need to go and blame Cindy. They had been active. Nobody in the middle of somebody else's problem is going to recognize or think that it's going to get to a certain point, like double child homicide, until after the fact. You know, in that case, you can blame all kinds of different things, in theory, right? But there's really no need to spend any time on it when the guilty parties are right there in front of your face, i.e. their parents or mom and the boyfriend. No, they don't, Layla. People keep asking about, could the dog do damage? I guess it's a fair question. No, I don't even think the dog's involved when you have the people, with a history of abuse lying to your faces this hard. You don't have to look anywhere past them. And by the way, they have all of the answers. I'm not trying to poo-poo you brainstorming or theorizing. But no matter what else you can come up with, you have no need to get to really focus too much on it, because the obvious is staring you right there in the face, and that's Daniel. You don't think it would be an extension of the problems that they were already having? Where is that? This particular statement right here. Belinda mentioned to him that you said that you fought over giving them spankings because she was too slack, and they couldn't. They wouldn't listen to her. What did they have to listen to their mom about? What was that whole system about, I wonder? The kids won't listen to their mother? Are you sure? It sounds like you're trying to instill some rules in that sense on your own, something that would convenience you, and that you were going to instill because their mother wouldn't do it because you told her to. So clear separation of whose kids are whose in that scenario. But the fact that you told Belinda that you guys were arguing over the fact that you're talking about hitting the kids as a disciplinary measure, a 4 and a 6-year-old, dude. A 4 and a 6-year-old. There is never any reason ever to have to discipline physically a 4 and a 6-year-old child. But here we have Daniel. Somehow, this is. What are you looking for, chair? This is something that was an issue between them. It makes me furious. Just give me a sec, chair. Hold on. Friends, we're going to go get some snacks and foods. We'll be back a little bit later on to continue this. I'm going to go isolate that pen. I'm going to think a little bit more on that. Not that it's a smoking gun, but it's a nice piece of leakage, I think. Where Jack and Lily were. The natives are restless, and we're going to go have some snacks. It's a beautiful day out there. It's 26 degrees here in southern Ontario, by the way. It's a nice fall September day. I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. Go check out Mike Demand's latest video from last night. I'll finish watching it too. Peace.